Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show today. Very happy to have you all here with us. It's an absolutely gorgeous day outside. I have no idea if it's hot or not. Of course, I know it's hot, but I won't investigate that. I'll just stay inside the air conditioner. But nevertheless, it is beautiful. Do have a hot cup of coffee, sitting here with friends, about to discuss geopolitics and entertainment and all that kind of fun stuff. Just kick back and relax on the Sunday before you guys get back to it. Of course, for me, I'm
It.
already at it. Well, the Monday, back to work.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
the problem is when you get older, the weekend it's as if it doesn't happen. It's Friday and then it's Monday again.
Yep.
Yeah,
Very quickly.
just choo-
Very quickly.
yeah, very, very quick.
Comes and it
Comes and it
goes.
goes. The strange thing, I mentioned this before, but when you're a kid, time, if you're doing nothing, right? If you're literally
Yep.
doing nothing, for a kid, time goes so slow and it's so
Yes.
boring. But as an adult,
Yeah.
if you're doing nothing, time actually moves even quicker
Yeah.
than if you're busy. It's really weird. It's very
It's
weird.
very odd.
It is.
Um, I don't really understand time, Chester, because well,
Mhm.
the reality is time probably isn't real. It's probably just a construct of our own entropy in the way we catalog it.
Mhm.
But
Perception, yeah.
but everything is affected by it,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because everything's affected by entropy. So it's kind of like even if it's not an actual force in and of itself, the effect of our concept of it is. And I think it's very interesting how, like you said, when you're younger, time goes. It takes everything takes forever if you're doing nothing.
Mhm.
But when you're playing or you're having a good time or you're whatever, then days just blur.
They blur,
But
yeah.
it's the opposite when you get older. When
Mhm.
you're actually having a good time, typically it feels like forever, right? And it's one
Right.
of the things like when you genuinely fall in love for real with somebody, it feels like you've been with them forever,
Yeah,
right? Like
it
there's like
does.
this
It's that
weird,
natural, quiet feeling, yeah.
yeah, like like eternity. You just found like there's no other way to describe it. But when you're with people who you just kind of like,
Sure.
time
Well
just kind of moves.
well, it's interesting you mentioned that because a lot of people misunderstand, especially young people, misunderstand love, and they
Yeah,
misplace it with passion or lust, right? And
yes,
and both are fine. There's nothing wrong with either one. But love is a quiet thing.
hmm
Whereas passion is not quiet at all,
no.
right?
No, and the other thing that they seem to do, I've noticed this, is they think that because let's say you meet somebody and you just don't have that moment, that spark, that passion,
Sure.
whatever. Okay, but what if you really like them? What if they're cool? What if they're nice to talk to? What if they're fun to be around? What if all these other things? That part of it you can cultivate. It doesn't have to be instant. And if you're married long enough, for most people, you'll have times where you just don't have that together. You just for whatever reason, right? You're just not having that intense passion that you did one night or whatever, or on your honeymoon or whatever.
Where meaning every
And then
piece of furniture in the house gets hit daily, you
yeah,
mean? Yeah, that? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you just don't have that sometimes. And then occasionally, for some reason, you'll just get it back. What there'll be it could be of various reasons, but it'll happen. And that's perfectly okay. A lot of people, the reason why they end up divorced or the reason why they end up with this thing or they can't ever get a real relationship is because they're in love with the passion. They're not
Yeah,
in love
that's
with
what I
love.
meant. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
mean, love is necessary. Passion is not,
Yeah. Correct.
without question. I mean,
Yes.
passion could be fun, sure. There's not, like I said, there's nothing wrong with it, but love is there are separate issues, and a lot
Yes.
of people do seem to confuse that. Mostly women who seem to get
Yes.
bored in the West.
Especially younger women.
Yeah,
They want to chase that high, that
they
constant
do.
high, and they feel like, well, but he's not making me feel like that anymore. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Well, of course, and so what? But I think one of the ways women that aren't in the West, and keep in mind that's the majority of the population of the planet.
that's right.
The way women deal with it is they focus in real hard on not only being a mother, but on being a wife.
Yes.
This is with the focus of their life. Like I said, my wife's hobby is being a mother. That's literally her hobby,
What she
right?
does.
Yeah. and she's very happy being so. And of course, we're empty nesters, but we haven't had any transition issues at all. Some people do, but we haven't had that because I have become the child.
Yes.
Yes. I wasn't offered an opinion. I didn't get a vote, but
And you won't get one, sir.
no, I won't. So I just I roll my eyes internally and just shut up, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Sometimes that's the best move.
it
But
is.
it's just interesting that we're talking about like time and passion and stuff, and it's kind of they kind of go hand in hand.
They do.
Because one of the things that people don't like, especially women, it seems, don't like to come to grips with is that familiarity, access breeds contempt. It doesn't actually breed closeness. Now it can, but that takes work. That takes years of getting to know each other and rounding out each other's edges so that you can always be within each other's company and not have that cause bristling. Uh, it's just how it is. People get comfortable, and in that comfortability, they stop seeing you and they see the version of you that they see every day. And what I mean
Sure.
by that is it's not the same thing. So like here's how let me explain. You are a boss, right?
I
To
am.
your employees, you're their boss.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. To your wife, you're her husband.
Mhm.
Now, if she every single day saw you the same way your employees do, her perception of you would change.
Of
You're
course.
still the same guy. You're still the same guy. Still the same everything.
Right.
But her perception of you would change. So what happens is when you're around somebody constantly, especially if they're just living their normal life, you're not seeing them at their most exciting, you're going to get bored with them. And that familiarity starts to breed a little bit of contempt because you're like, this boring son of a bitch is around me again. Look at
Right.
them all boring.
Well,
They're boring.
yeah. Yeah, and that can be a real thing. But I think, because
Yep.
like I said, we're empty nesters, but we've had no transition issues.
Mhm.
And part of it is her just, her focus is all me now instead of just the kids. But
Right.
another part of it is, I'd say it's twofold. One, I still always make her laugh,
Yes.
right? So that's in
Hmm.
one, and and two, she relies on my wisdom. Now I know that comes across as incredibly arrogant, but it is what it is.
Yep.
She relies on that. She trusts my opinion on things, and I'm always a stone in the flood, right? So this is and she said this out loud, right? That this is an important thing to her. And for each couple, it's going to be different, of course, but for us, it's that. And like a lot of I have the other women in my life, because I have a lot of women around me, right? They always laugh when um I kind of would joke that my wife cleans the seeds out of my watermelon before she gives it to me, or she will clean the crab or the shrimp at the table before eating it. And they kind of laugh like, oh, you should do that yourself. And I said, one, no, because if it were my choice, I just wouldn't bother with it. I wouldn't eat it at
Right.
all, right?
Yep.
One. Two, it's her joy, man. Why would I take that away?
Yep.
She
Serving.
loves doing
Uh,
that. Yeah.
so when I worked a normal job, every morning before I do what I do now, every morning my wife would get up and before she'd go to work,
Mhm.
she would make me lunch.
Yep.
She would make me a nice little lunch to take to work with me every time. Every morning. It was very rare where she didn't. Maybe she was just didn't have time that morning, whatever. But almost always she would do this. And her friends, a lot of them, were just aghast at this. They were just aghast. Why would you
There's
do? I'd never do that. I'm like, first of all, it's not that big a deal. I never asked her to do it. It was never something I was
no.
like, hey, baby, make sure you make me lunch in the morning. Nope, never had to do that. She just did it because she likes to do nice things for her husband. I know it's a terrible
It is
world we
weird.
live in where that's the exception and not the
Yeah.
rule. But yeah, so like it's the same thing. Why would I tell her to stop? Or why what usually happens is exactly what you just said. It's other women who will
Yeah,
try
it's
and
always other
shame
women. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
try
always
and
other
shame
women.
you out of this service behavior because love there's a synonym for love and it's service. What will I who this person who I will just do things for just because I like to make them happy.
It's
That's
part
it.
of their joy.
That's the only reason.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and of course we don't really have the
baby.
feminist problem here that you do in the West, but yeah, a lot of them don't understand that basic concept that you know men never request any of this stuff. We just allow
Yeah.
it because we know it brings them joy.
Give me
There's no sense in in involving
that.
ourselves, and they don't understand that concept whatsoever. But you hear that yelling and screaming all the time, and it's like they completely misunderstand the notion because they don't have it.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no,
But
they're miserable people. They wanna spread misery, instead of just happiness.
yeah,
True happiness is not joy. Now, joy is great. It's kinda like passion. You want joy, sure, but true happiness is peace.
yep,
That's true happiness.
that is quiet. That's right. A
Nice
lot of
and quiet.
yeah, because when she's not present, I actually clean a lot because I'm far more pedantic than she is in that regard.
No.
I am.
You?
I
No.
am.
Couldn't
I am.
believe it. I don't believe
But
it.
I do try to not let her see it. Right.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll make a mistake and I'll just kind of be in motion and I'll just do the dishes real quick, right?
Bitch. Right.
And it's just in my movement. I just do it. And she'll always like, "Oh, he did dishes, thank you." She'll be all like that about it. And it's like I try not to do that because
Mhm.
I know she enjoys doing it.
Right.
Right? Like laundry,
Well,
I'm
good.
not
I mean,
even
like
allowed to
school
touch
used to.
laundry, by the way. But it's illegal for me to touch the laundry, just so you know.
The
Um,
cops will come. They'll
they
be there
will.
in a
They
minute.
will. But occasionally I do make that mistake. I just because I'm in motion, right? I'm just doing.
Mhm.
But I try not to. If it's out of control, though, I mean, because sometimes she gets busy and it just piles up, I just have to. There's occasions like that because I can't stand it. I don't know if you
Right.
understand the concept of something not being straight.
Oh god, the OCD. The OCD of this man. Of this man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's an issue. You would love my house, though. It is perfectly symmetrical. Well, no, it's actually systematically asymmetrical.
I see. So it's
Chew on
perfectly
that for a second.
asymmetrical in its symmetry.
That's right. Chew
Yeah.
on that.
I got you. I'm
Yeah.
with you. I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine is not because I am not a psycho person, you see.
Yeah. No, it's all like that. And one thing, because like I said, my wife's been on a kick here for so many months of watching these police body cams
Yeah.
and true crime stuff, which the true crime stuff's actually kind of interesting. The body cams get a little bit old pretty quick, but the true crime is interesting. But because I'm usually doing something, and she's watching the TV, right?
Right.
When she finally sits down, which because she's one of those people that never stops moving type. Um,
Mhm.
but because like I was saying the other day, I had 9 days off, and she's been having to take care of her dad. And she's not a chatty person, right?
Right.
I mean, she's not constantly talking. She's not that kind of lady. But she's always moving. So doors are opening. Just constant little noise of movement. But she
Right.
wasn't here, so it was quiet.
Uh-oh.
It was
Peace.
wonderful. It was wonderful. I didn't say so. Don't repeat that.
Oh.
I'll deny it. Yeah. But but anyway, it was pretty. Anyway, I'll leave that as it is.
I
But
do find we started talking about time. I don't even know how we got on that conversation, but
why
we
not?
started talking about time. I do find it very interesting how many of the great teachings of the religions and the philosophies are based in the concept of stillness, of
Yeah.
peace,
Hmm.
of finding
Sure.
stillness. Because even in like scripture, you're never promised happiness. You can go after happiness, that's fine, but you're not promised that. But what you are promised is peace. What I mean by that is it doesn't necessarily mean in your life outside. You could be in chaos out there, but inside. If you take these teachings into you, you will have a peace that the Bible says will pass all understanding.
Hmm.
That is what you're promised. And Buddhism is very similar.
Yep.
Pretty much all of
Sure.
them are very, very similar.
Sure.
That yes, the world outside can be chaotic, but you don't have to be. Inside, you can still be stoicism, still be still like a river.
Sure.
And
Well, Stoicism is the best, dude, because
yeah,
that teaches you to have peace in the storm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. No, it's just interesting how much of it
Yeah.
is that way. Like our emotions, we talk about passion, our emotions, they're great and all, but they're just something our body does. That's all they are. That's just
Yeah,
something your body's doing. It's not you. You go deeper than that. You go so much deeper than that.
sure.
So to
Which is our
allow them to
problem.
rule your decisions, yeah,
Yeah,
allow them to
which is
rule
our
your
problem.
decisions and rule your life is silly. I
Yeah.
think our understanding of time might be more like an emotion than it is a thought
Well, maybe.
because
I mean, we don't
it
understand
functions
it.
like it.
Um,
Yeah.
it was Einstein who, in the scientific world, brought forward the idea of time and the perception
Hmm.
of it and how it depends upon that. But
Yeah.
if you are, I've said this before, but if you are a religious person, it is kind of shocking how much the Bible actually talks about science.
Yes.
Because it does, whether you realize it or not. A lot of times people do, you get kind of glazed when you read the Bible a
Oh.
lot, right? Unfortunately,
Yeah.
because of the way it's written. But which was, I really kind of in that case, I kind of express if you're a religious person or Christian, you like to read the Bible, you should buy one of the modern English standards. Because what it does is it just translates it into modern English. And I know some people said the Word of God should not be unchanged. Well, dude, it's been unchanged. It's been changed a freaking dozen times at least. So what are you
Yes.
talking about? It's just
Well,
translation. It's not changed.
you're gonna
Um,
get me down the rabbit hole. You're gonna do it.
well,
You're gonna do it.
but
It's
anyway,
the same thing. I'll just say it real quick. The Bible's very clear. The Word of God is not the Bible. The Word of God is Jesus Christ. That's the Word of
yeah,
God,
no,
and He is unchanged. But the Bible itself, yeah, it's been changed a million times.
yeah,
Right? He's eternal.
I've always kind of, especially those in America, like those Pentecostals and those kind of people like
Hmm.
that, they get so crazy about it. But even the Bible itself said the word of God has been given unto man in its imperfect hand.
Correct.
I mean, how much more do you need? That's pretty straight up, dude. But my point is, the Bible is full of science, and if you read a more a version of the Bible that is more in line with the English use or the language you speak, you'll have a better understanding of it, and it'll be a lot less glazing. But
Hmm.
even the Bible mentions that there are four dimensions in which man can perceive, and of course, it talks about time, and there are six that we cannot. So even the Bible agrees there are 10 dimensions.
Yep.
So, what do you want? Now, some scientists say they think there's more, and that's their hypothesis, and it might well be. But as far as man can perceive through our history, it seems to be able what our mind can handle as far as guessing upon. So, all right, and we've had this concept for at least a couple thousand years, if not a lot longer, probably a lot longer. But time is talked about quite a bit in the Bible, and how
Yes.
it's perceived and how it interacts upon the man, and how it can be a positive and a negative. And it's not always direct. Sometimes, idle hands are the playground of the devil, right?
Yes.
That's time. That's talking about time, right? It's not direct,
Hmm.
but it is talking about time. So the Bible does cover that topic quite a bit, as do all the other texts, as you mentioned. And it is interesting observation you make that you're not guaranteed money or happiness or happiness or any of those things. You are simply offered peace.
That's right.
And yeah, and I think that's really the
Yes.
most important thing.
Well, it's because the reality of our reality that we've come to understand is it's an illusion. All this stuff that we think is real, we can't prove that it's real. We
No.
can't prove that matter's real.
No.
Like when we feel it's real, we can't. We've tried. Every time we do, we just get back to everything's energy. Every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't exist until we observe it. Which is like, well, wait a minute. Then
Well,
what is it? We don't know.
right. But when I was a kid, there were a couple of realizations that really shocked me. I guess I'll
Hmm.
use that word as a child, and they still kind of shock me. One of them is 99.9% of everything you see around you that you touch on a daily basis is empty.
That's right.
That's real, right?
Yep.
And the fact that the reason that anything sticks together is because of its electrical elasticity, right?
Yes.
That's another very big one if you sit and think about it. And of course, when this was much more recent, like within the past 30 years, but well, I think it was within the past 20 years. But when I saw a presentation of what our eyes actually see, that was also a very shocking moment for me because if you imagine that, and the older people get this quicker than the young ones, but you understand TV static, right? And when you were a kid and
Yeah.
the channel would go offline and it would just go staticky, right? They shut the feed off
Yeah.
and you get this black and white, peppered static on the screen, that's what reality looks like, except for it's got lines and shapes inside of it. So the table you can see the table, but it's all staticky because your brain itself creates the color, creates the aesthetic. Your brain creates that. And therefore, this brings to another concept that kind of blew my mind as well, is that when we look at let's say I got a Marlboro box in front of me, right? It's a white
Mhm.
box with a red M on the top, and everyone knows what it looks like, right? And we all agree that this is white and that is red and this is that and that is this, right? We all agree because we were taught it as kids, and that's how we all just fall into that pattern, right? But the
Yes.
reality is, what my brain decides what red is, what now shapes and stuff like that, that is set. But
Mhm.
color, texture, those things like that, your brain makes a decision on how that looks. It isn't
Right.
actually what it looks like. So therefore, your red and my red could be radically different. Your red to me might look purple or
It
yellow.
is, especially mine because I'm colorblind.
Oh, there you go. But I'm just saying that it doesn't work the way you think it does.
Right.
The reality doesn't have any of the color or features that you think it does. Your brain makes a decision. And because we're raised amongst each other, we all have an agreement. Even if you take someone who was raised by wolves, for instance, and are brought into a human society, during the process of communication and language training and stuff like that, that takes place. So it doesn't matter if it happens as an infant or as an 80-year-old. It just takes place, and therefore it's hard for us to perceive the concept that we don't see things the same. And this also explains certain diseases, like some people can't see faces, some people are colorblind. A lot of times it's a brain issue, it's not an eye issue.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily a broken thing. It's just different, right?
Just different.
Yeah,
Yep. Um, well, like for instance, I'm left-handed as well. Well,
me
I'm
too.
technically both, but I'm dominant left. And that's a mutation. And so
It is.
is, the my eyes not seeing color properly. Uh, I can see color. I just can't discern it. So if you
Right,
put two very similar colors next to each other, you got me. No idea.
right.
No idea
Well,
what that is.
some people it is actually an eye issue,
Yeah.
and there are glasses that can fix it, which is cool.
Mhm.
Have you tried those?
Neat.
Is that your problem?
Nah, nah, I don't care enough.
It
It's not
doesn't
that big
matter,
a
yeah.
deal.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm left-handed as well, but of course I'm old, so we were forbidden from using it. So
Yes.
I'm
I wasn't
pseudo
forbidden. It was
ambidextrous.
just everything was already right-handed, so it was just easier. So
Yeah,
if we were
no,
playing baseball, they weren't going to get me a left-handed glove. I just had to use the right-handed gloves, for instance.
now they
Um,
whack you with a ruler, dude.
yeah, I know. I know. It doesn't matter. My handwriting and everything is so bad in either hand, it doesn't matter at all. Which is weird for a lefty. From what I understand, lefties usually have decent handwriting, but
Right.
mine is terrible.
You know the weird thing though, although I kind of tend to lean left because I'm left-handed, in other
Mhm.
things I'm not. And I don't know if that's just trained or not, but like when I shoot a bow or I shoot a gun, I do shoot
Yep,
it right-handed, not left-handed.
I do
Oh,
too.
yeah,
I
I don't know
usually
what
do
that
too.
is.
I usually
Um,
eat with my right hand too, for some reason. Just do. I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, it depends. If I'm using a knife along with my fork, I'm usually opposite. Otherwise, it's all right because I was told to. So.
Right. Yep.
But
It's crazy.
you know what I saw yesterday, and I had to hold. every bit of my fiber not to say something or gesture something. It was, oh
Uh-oh.
my God, dude. My wife, we have a set amount. We go to new restaurants all the time because, keep looking. But we have a set restaurants that we go to that we rotate through. And my wife wanted to go to this place. It's called the Hawaiian Pancake Cafe, which is weird because I lived in Hawaii and there's literally one place in Hawaii that sells pancakes. But whatever. Um, it's a Japanese image of what Hawaii is, right? But
Yes.
nevertheless, the food's okay. The hamburgers used to be pretty good, but then they went to the Japanese meatloaf burgers, and I hate those. But anyway, I was just sitting. We were sitting down, going to enjoy a little bit of meal, and we, do our day. But there was a young couple, cute, young man and woman with a little baby. I mean, the baby was probably about a year and a half, maybe. Nice. I love to see it. And the father had finished eating, and he was feeding a pancake to the kid, and the mother was finishing her sandwich, her hamburger. She had a hamburger, and a cute little couple. I love this. I love to see it. I love to see young couples. That's a great thing. However, she was eating her hamburger.
With a knife and fork.
My God, dude.
I knew it. I sensed it. I sensed it from a mile away. Yeah, no,
Well, I did preface it, but it's okay. But
that's just vile.
dude,
That's
it's
just
wrong.
vile.
It's wrong. It's wrong in
You
every
know,
way
you know
possible.
how when you just see something that simply should not be, there it
Mhm.
was, right there.
There
Like
it
it's
was.
like the Matrix is glitched. Wait,
Yeah. But of
what are you
course,
doing?
I didn't say anything. Obviously, there's no need. But and also, this is kind of a young Japanese can be easily intimidated. So, I
Oh
wouldn't
yes,
want to ruin their month.
a giant blonde-headed, gray-headed kaiju beast man comes over and yells at them bother eating their food.
Yeah,
I bet they're intimidated.
yeah. I didn't say anything, of course, but I was like, oh, I took every bit of my fiber not to. I wanted to just gesture a hamburger in my hand and taking a chomp on it is what I wanted to do, not say anything. But I was like, oh my God, dude. It's weird the little things that just bug the shit out of you, right?
Yes,
Um,
it's always the little things too.
yeah,
Big things like you handle it, but for some reason it's the little things that get you.
yeah.
That gets you.
And I saw another thing related to this point the other day, and I was like, I wanted to slap someone through the YouTube. But it was this Indian girl, and she was mocking Americans or Westerners, but particularly I think she was mocking Americans. And she didn't say anything. I think there was some script on the screen, but basically she was just eating a sandwich or a hamburger. I can't remember what it was, but a sandwich. She was
Yeah,
taking bites of it. She put it down, and then she went to a plate of curry rice, mixing it up with her hand and eating it, and then kind of shrugged her shoulders, meaning, "What's your problem?" Right? Because for us, taking a bunch of rice and curry in a plate and using your fingers to eat it, it's a bit odd, right?
it's gross.
It's
Yeah.
messy. Well, I don't know if it's
Yep.
gross, but it's messy.
No, it's
Um,
it's
uh,
disgusting, uncivilized behavior.
well, okay, fine. But that's what she was pushing back against was your thinking
Mhm.
and mine. But of course,
Yeah.
it's a stupid argument
Yes.
because literally sandwiches were created by the very Earl of Sandwich
That's right.
because he wanted to play his card games and not get his cards all greasy and sticky. Therefore, sandwiches are directly created intending to keep your hands clean,
That's
right?
correct. It
Whereas
has
there,
nothing to do with eating with your hands. We
no,
always eat with our hands. Always.
well,
Every
if
meal.
you have a fork or not, yeah,
Yeah, you're still using your hand to eat
that's
that
right.
food.
Yeah,
Uh, it's the bread or whatever the sandwich is wrapped in is acting as a utensil. That's what it's for. When you eat it like a savage, when you're just eating it straight and it's all greasy and slimy, especially curry rice, like come on, your hands are gonna get all gross and nasty. And come on, they're Indians. They shit in the street, Chester.
they're not the
These people
cleanest
shit in
people.
their street.
They're
They're
not the
not
cleanest
clean.
people. That's true.
So no, I will not be lectured to by anybody from that continent
Yeah,
or subcontinent about cleanliness
yeah.
ever, or about what I'm allowed to find disgusting and repugnant to watch.
Well,
Watching you eat with your fingers when you're eating a bunch of rice and stuff, to me, in a public, if you're doing it at home, whatever, who cares? But if you're doing it in public, to me, you're trying to be disgusting if you're doing it in a Western culture, because,
right.
and even Far Eastern cultures, that's not how we eat. We have etiquette. We have societal norms.
We do.
We use utensils.
We do. But keep in mind, the Americans in particular, of course, Japanese too, but they emulate us perfectly, right? We
Mhm.
are the cleanest people on earth because we
Yeah,
literally shower daily. And most people
right.
mock us for doing that, actually. Keep that in mind.
I
Um,
actually, I actually break from that. I don't. I'll wash up, but I try not to shower because it dries my skin out like crazy if I do
yeah,
it
no,
daily.
you do have to put oils on after. That is true. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying, compared to most of the world, we are the cleanest people because of how
my
we go
father would
about it.
take two because he sweats
Sometimes
so
I've
bad.
done it
He's
too.
real warm.
I've taken two
Yeah,
as well. Yeah.
warm
But
blooded.
whereas most of the people on the planet who would be considered clean, what they do is they'll kind of, in essence, sponge bath every day, and then maybe take
Yeah,
a shower once a week or bathe.
right.
And that, of course, is very traditional. Now, there are certain places in the world where they hardly bathe at all, and they have very bad hygiene, a la India. But
Hmm.
the interesting thing or the irritating thing for me is always watching these damn Hollywood movies and they show the Europeans being filthy and dirty. And it's like,
Yes.
dude, not only is
No.
that stupid, they would all be dead. One. Two,
Yeah.
you do realize all those Europeans you keep making filthy in all your damn movies are Christians. And in the
Yes.
Bible, there are both rules and law. Now, the law, the Ten Commandments, sure. But there are also a lot of rules on life, and one of those, a very prominent one, particularly amongst Protestants, is cleanliness is next
That's
to
right.
godliness.
Yes, sir.
But yet you're going to make these dark age, middle aged movies that all the people are filthy. It's like,
And they lived in
what?
communities. They lived in communities that were almost all based either around a noble house or a castle or something like that,
Sure,
or a church
sure,
directly.
that's right.
So these were they didn't have much, but what they had was faith. These were very devout people,
Yes,
maybe to a fault,
to a
but they
fault.
were very devout people. So to pretend like they were just walking around covered in crap, literal poop, right?
Yeah,
I've seen them
it's
say, oh, covered
so
in feces.
ridiculous, dude.
Shut up! Nobody's walking around covered in feces unless they're Indian. Get out of here.
Yeah, and even they don't go that far. They don't go that far.
But they do
Um,
walk around in filth, just filth
it
everywhere,
they
all over the
their
place.
society is very very dirty. That is true.
Yeah,
But it also makes their immune system absolute superhuman.
that's right.
So you know. But no, it always irritated the hell out of me. I mean, uh, it doesn't make any sense. People are going to keep themselves clean for multiple reasons, not only health reasons, comfort reasons, but also social ones, right?
Right. Nobody
And
wants to stink. Nobody
right,
wants to stink.
no, and they also will always kind of make the joke with the toothbrushing. Do you realize the oldest toothbrush that I know of in my head? Would you like to know when it was?
Tell me.
It's from Mesopotamia and it's about 8,000 years old.
Sounds about right. Yep.
Right. And of course, we know human history goes way, way, way beyond that.
It's not exactly like it's a brilliant
No,
creation.
no,
It's
it's a
pretty
simple
simple.
thing. I feel a little bit gummy up in there. Let me stick my
Let me,
finger
let me
in. Hey, is there a
scrape.
better way to do this? Right.
Let me scrape this off. Oh, that's a little hard. That kind of hurts. Let's get something softer. And there you go. That was the thought
Yeah.
process to the toothbrush.
Yeah.
Oh,
One
oh,
of the
that's too soft. Let's get a little
easiest,
harder.
right? One of the easiest humans inventions ever. Right. But it does irritate the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you're doing something in India and the filth is part, which all the Indian movies that are successful outside of India focus on the filth, don't they? Think about it.
Yes.
Slumdog Millionaire, right? Now, to be fair, that was a British guy in collaboration with the Indians. It focuses on the filth, and there are
Yes.
a lot of movies that like that Monkey Man, which I enjoyed. It's a little more philosophical than I thought it would be, but it focuses in on the filth. And
Yep.
that, by the way, is a movie that handles transgenderism, homosexuality, drag queen type stuff, transvestites, handles it correctly,
Yep.
right? Because we've talked about this before, but a lot of these morons in Hollywood don't understand that, setting your film in 1938 Germany is a feature. Having a
Yes.
homosexual character is a feature. Your
Yep.
story has nothing to do with the feature. right?
Right.
You can take any, just say, let's take Star Wars: A New Hope, very popular, right? Everyone knows it.
Mhm.
Let's take that
Mhm.
story and instead put it in the Old West. Does it work?
Mhm. Yep.
Yep. Let's take and set it in 872 China. Does it work?
There's a lot of white people, but yeah.
Well, we could change the races of them, or it could be an invasion. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, that's their problem. They want to
Yeah.
talk about this thing, which is fine. Make it a feature. There's no problem with that. But tell your story separate from your feature. Your story should be able to stand by itself without your features. Then
Right.
pepper in your features and massage it a bit, right?
Yes.
That's the reason why they can't make anything successful, because they don't understand this basic concept. And like I said, Monkey Man, it does have transgenderism in it. And you're like, oh God, it's woke. No, it's not. It handles the subject in a correct way. It's just a feature. It's not the story, right?
Well, it's also Eastern,
Yeah.
yeah, coming out of India. Uh, a lot of the cultures over there handle that whole deal a lot
Oh,
differently than we
they,
do.
yeah, they don't have
Yep.
issues. It's not a conversation over here at all. It's
Yep.
not. They're just
Exactly.
part of society, and it is what it is, and you're never going to get rid of it. Why bother?
Yep.
And
That's
therefore,
their
it
thinking.
settles down to into its comfortable
And
low
for the
like
most part,
percentage, right?
that's how it was here, right?
Probably.
People just, you know what it is. But then they decided everything had to be a crusade. Then they decided they didn't not only wanted to, not only could get away with it, they needed to be in the women's bathrooms, needed, or else they would kill themselves, right? It became a necessity. Like they it got turned into by the worst type of people into a cause. And as soon as something becomes a cause, there's a counter cause. Always. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be a cause that most people agree with. And by the way, most people agree that men, I don't care what they think they are, shouldn't be in women's bathrooms. That's why we
No.
have men in women's
Yeah.
bathrooms. That's why
Obviously.
that exists.
Yeah.
Uh, so my point is, once they turned it into a cause, they turned it into a mission, a religion, if we're being honest. Well, then people were going to be like, no, I don't agree with you. And then as soon as that happens, it becomes contentious. What doesn't happen in the East, it sounds like, is that just isn't a thing. There's none of this weird zealotry one way or the other about it because nobody's tried to ever make it into an issue,
Yeah.
right? It's never
And
been. It just is what it is, and that everybody just leaves it alone. And that's like I
right.
said, for the most part, that's how it was here. I know we
Sure.
have all these horror stories about how trans people used to get beat up and killed. Blah, blah, blah. Listen,
Nah, it
I've
depends on
known,
where and when.
and it depends what they did. If you
That's
tricked a
true.
guy into making out with you, and you're a dude, you got a dick.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
You're getting your ass beat, and you deserve it.
Yeah,
That
you
was
do.
that. If I trick a girl into doing the same thing based on false premises, false pretenses, and
Yeah.
she gets mad at me and starts beating my ass, nobody's gonna say she's wrong.
No.
So why should they say the
No.
guy's wrong? It's the
And
same thing.
the extra issue with the bathroom thing is this.
Yep.
99% of 0.99 probably percent of men, when they see a kid, it's a kid. It's either to be
That's right.
protected and or annoyed by, right?
Yes.
And that's the end of
Yes.
it, right? But you do have that very small percentage of society that sees it as an object of desire.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether you allow men in women's bathroom or not, those people exist and they are a threat. Okay?
That's right.
The problem with the bathroom is not them. The problem with doing things in the bathroom is you extend the potential because
Hmm.
you'll have another percentage, which is probably slightly bigger, of men who are maybe on the edge of it. So the average kid isn't attracted to them, but occasionally you do get that little 8, 9, 10-year-old girl who's just a pretty kid or a boy.
Yes.
They're just pretty. I mean, you see them occasionally, right?
Right.
Now you're expanding the opportunity, right?
That's right.
And
That's
that's
right.
what you don't want to do. We want to be preventative.
All or almost all deviant behavior only happens when the opportunity
That's right.
is present.
Like gun-free zones.
Yeah. Exactly. You're
Yeah,
just made that into a fish in the barrel
you
situation,
did.
and
Right.
eventually someone's going to take advantage of it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a dumb argument. So many of the things, the arguments have been made over the past decade are inane. That's the
Yep.
word, inane.
When
And
I've
they don't make any sense.
personally, I've always thought that, especially these big corporations and stuff, I don't see any reason why there can't just be a regulation that all bathrooms become private, and you walk into like a joint area, and then it has its own complete private stall, full like a full tiny little shit room, basically, and
Good.
that's it. There's no reason why this conversation ends, because now the
Right.
only thing you're sharing is a place to wash your hands, which isn't that big of a deal.
Right. Although I think the Japanese solved it inadvertently, and they weren't trying to. But
Mm.
the way the Japanese handle public bathrooms is really the solution for the West in this conversation. And because the
Mhm.
way they do here, because simple fact of the matter is, you have men and women bathroom, right? But most of the time men aren't using the bathroom, women are using the bathroom constantly, and it's just simply because we have a valve that shuts it off and women don't, and they are always in panic mode about pissing themselves.
Yes, they
Okay,
are,
that's just the
which,
reality. Sorry
which is
ladies,
funny.
you know that's
It's
true. They
hilarious.
go to the bathroom all the time, even though you could hold it, but they don't
Yeah.
want to, right?
Hmm.
Because if they hit a bump, if they're full in a way, or even partially so, and they hit a bump or something happens, they could squirt a little
Laugh.
bit. They could leak. But we have a valve, men. We have an easy way to keep. We don't have. There's no effort on our part. So I get it.
Mhm.
But what the Japanese do is because of that. That's the reason. It has nothing to do with transgenders. Um, what they do in most places that don't have multiple, like a department store is going to have many bathrooms, right? But like say a
Right.
convenience store, right? They'll have one bathroom that is simply, I guess you could say the word unisex, but anybody can
Hmm.
use it, right? And
Yep.
men, women, it's got either a standing urinal and a toilet seat, a toilet, or just the toilet, whatever. It's marked unisex. Anyone can use it. And then there's a female bathroom, and that's it.
Right.
There is no bathroom for men. There is no men's bathroom. There is the unisex bathroom, and then of course there's a woman's bathroom. That would solve the situation 100%. Easy, done.
Well,
Because men don't
the
care.
main
I
reason
don't
that
care
will
if some woman comes in, walks next to me,
no,
uses a
do shit.
toilet, or stands next to me and start pissing. I'm be like, all right then. Or like when you're
Okay.
sitting there taking a piss, and the cleaner lady comes in. Does it bother you?
No,
No, don't care.
no.
She's the one that
Like, give me a
has to be
minute.
awkward, not me. Um,
Give me a minute, darling.
right.
Um.
So that's the easy solution because men don't give a shit.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at, because if it's all unisex, then even if somebody, and they'd have to be very calculating. Even if somebody is going to try to do something, most likely a man's going to walk in and put a stop to it immediately.
Oh yeah.
Because most men, the vast majority of us, wouldn't allow anything like that, whether it was some creep touching a woman or creeping a woman out or near a
No.
little kid.
No.
We're stepping in immediately.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now we've
that's just how we
softened
wired.
in the West, they have softened that percentage because there is a larger percentage of men that would cower and do nothing though. That's a problem. That's a whole separate
Yeah.
problem.
Well, it's because they've been it's been beat out of them.
It
They've been
has.
cowed. It's been they call it the longhouse is the term that's used on the internet. And basically they've been battered by feminist bullshit for so long that they've just decided the only real action they should take is inaction. That's the best
Yeah, no.
action, because
Yeah.
everything they do is wrong, so fuck it. Why do
Yeah.
anything? Uh and I get that. I understand exactly where they're coming from. I was raised in this society, and for a while, I even agreed with it. But the truth of the matter is, that's cowardly.
It is.
Yes, society's
Yeah,
it's against you. It's
it
100%
is.
against you.
And
How are you gonna fix it?
yeah, no,
Oh,
no,
I'm
you're
not gonna fix
100%
it. Well,
right.
then don't. Fine, don't fix it. But then you're just gonna be a little bitch. Like,
Yeah.
that's your answer? Just be a
Yeah.
little bitch.
And of
That's
course
not an answer.
a lot of this comes out of a pushback against machismo. And but
Yeah,
the simple fact of the matter, you do have men who are macho. You do have that, sure.
that's right.
But the average man, like say for my thinking, is I'm going to step in and do the right thing, whether I'm going to win or not. I don't go in
Right.
there saying I'm going to kick your ass. No, I'm going to step in and defend the situation. You might well kick my ass or kill me. I'm not
Yep.
going in thinking I'm going to dominate. I'm going to try, but that has nothing to do with my action. My action is it must be done, therefore here I go.
Well,
It's
you
not a
also have all the horror stories of somebody stepped in and then they went to jail for various reasons,
well, it doesn't
or they
matter.
got
I
sued, or they
understand,
got
but
whatever.
for a man, that's irrelevant.
That's why.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's the problem is these guys, most of them have never had an actual masculine role model of any description.
Yeah, it's true.
Their fathers were either cucks or not around, or when they went to school, all their teachers were girls because the male teacher is gone. You're an anomaly in the West, Chester. You don't exist hardly. The male teacher has largely been either chased out because something they were having sex with a student, or the thought that that could happen, or it's also just because it hasn't been seen as a masculine job for a very long time in the
Sure.
West. And I don't really know when that happened or how, because I mean, there's one of the few things there's very few jobs you can do that's more masculine and manly than being a mentor, than being a teacher,
Yeah,
than
it's very
guiding the
very
next
masculine.
generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No,
I
being
don't know
teachers,
when that
kids are
happened.
great, man.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. It's one of the most rewarding things you can do is to teach people who are ignorant, genuinely ignorant. They're not dumb; they're just ignorant. They don't know new things. It's unbelievably satisfying as a man. You want to
Yeah.
feel really powerful? Find a group of people that need to know knowledge that you have, and you'll
Because
feel great about yourself very
even
quickly.
no, that's true, and teaching is a great thing. But I even with my generation, which is nowhere near as bad as now, I did have to deprogram myself a little bit over here. It didn't take long, but I did have to do it. Now, a modern person would have a lot of issues, and I've seen some of the younger teachers who come in and work for the government because I don't. I have my own thing. Well, I
Right.
do, but I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they have a big problem with it because the Japanese kids aren't raised that way. So I'll have a
Right.
kid come over and grab my hand or grab a hold of my leg or sit in my lap and read a book or just they're not been taught that you're not allowed to touch other humans. They're not taught that. They're allowed to
Right.
be as they're going to be, and which is nothing. That's as it should be, right?
Yeah.
At first, I was a little awkward about it, but I got used to it pretty quickly. So over here, not only am I there's nothing weird at all about a male teacher. Um,
Right.
it's nothing weird at all about a teacher putting a hand on a shoulder or muffing a kid's head or a kid holding your hand or sitting in your
Right.
lap. There's nothing weird about it, right? It's quite
Yep.
normal. And I'm glad that I was able, because like I said, my generation didn't have beat in like the modern one. But
Mhm.
I'm glad I was able to get over that quick because it is much more relaxing and an enjoyable environment for me that I don't concern myself with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. No.
kids are going to be
And
kids. Let them be kids.
it sucks over here because I've always been like I don't have any kids, but I've always been I like kids. I like being around them. I like playing with kids. I like doing whatever and being goofy with them. But if you do that nowadays, unless you're very close to the people, you get immediately there's labels, right?
Yeah,
People
no,
automatically
it's
start
stupid.
doing
It's
that kid.
ridiculously
It's so
stupid.
stupid. And what sucks for me is I'm like you, I'd imagine, kids love me. So I'll walk
Yeah,
by a young. It just happened today. It just happened today. A little girl. I walk by this young girl and she's just staring at me. She's gone. I'm the most important thing she's ever seen for some reason at that
yeah.
moment,
They get
and she
fascinated by
just
different things. Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
just fascinated by me. So what happens is if you get somebody who like an insecure parent or one who's just way too on edge about it, they'll see that and now they're up mean mugging you like you did something, and all I did was literally walk by and the kid just
Yeah, no, it's
likes me.
ridiculously stupid, especially seeing the
Yeah,
vast majority of men. I mean, nearly 100% of men are protectors.
that's right.
It's not that. But yeah, what of course, I'm a kaiju white guy in Japan, so I
Right.
get it all the time. But what I'll do with the kids is like I'm sitting in a restaurant or something, the kid will be peeking around their parent, trying to look at me without being caught. Ooh, what
Yeah.
is that gigantic white thing, right? And I'll just act like nothing's going on. Then all of a sudden, quickly, I'll just turn my head real quick,
Yeah.
look
Do it
them
to
right in
him
the
too.
eye. They disappear. They melt into their mother.
Like,
Yes,
"Ah!"
yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
Per-
but the thing is, is,
yeah,
is over here you can't really do that stuff anymore because people are so on edge about it, so
yeah,
on
they're
edge about
stupid.
it, and it sucks. We've destroyed basic uh societal, what's the word I'm looking for, cohesion,
Happiness.
happiness, because we can't just
Yeah,
let kids chill.
men
Like
are
you said,
illegal. Yeah,
most children the majority of them, in my experience, are sensual, and I don't mean that in some kind of erotic way. They like to
No,
come up
they're
and touch things.
touchy-feely. Yeah.
They like to touch you. They like,
Yeah.
hey. They don't, because they don't know any better. They don't
Well,
know
they
about
put every
etiquette or
damn
whatever.
thing in their mouth. You're constantly taking Legos
Yeah,
away and cars and
yeah,
anything they find they want to stick in their mouth or their ear or their nose constantly. I
yes,
actually make that joke with the little kids in the Saturday class because that's more of a English club than a sit down study thing. And
right,
I'll play these fun little board games with them, and they're little. They're like first through fourth grade, right?
right.
Elementary school, and I'll always kind of make the joke, and it creates levity, and that's always good in that environment. And I'll take like if there's a little meeple or some part of the game, I'll take it and I'll say, okay, now don't put in your ear, don't put in your, and I'll actually stick it in my nose, and they'll laugh. Don't eat it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they get a
Yeah.
chuckle out of it, but it also keeps them from doing it because Sensei's watching, right? Because they do. Kids are constantly touching and putting everything, getting their
Yes,
boogers all over everything. They're
yes,
kids.
and
Yeah,
that's good.
it is
That's
good.
supposed to
They're
be what they
learning the
do. That
world. Yeah,
we're mammalians. We play, and one of the ways we play is through touch.
yeah.
And it's disgusting to me what's happened to the West. I don't know if it's all of the West or if it's just America, but I'd imagine it's everywhere. Uh, we have to go back. We have to get rid of all this suspicion that every single man out here is trying to rape your child. We're not.
No,
We're
it's
not interested in that.
insanely. It's wrong. It's harmful to
Yeah.
society
Your
to do that.
radar's messed up. Listen, I
Yeah,
can spot it. Chester's seen me do it. I had one conversation with the man who was on here who was a pedophile, and I asked him, "Is this guy a pedophile?" I can spot him.
you
I can
did.
sniff him out. And I'm telling you, the vast majority of people, of men or women, are chill. They're totally fine. They're not going to hurt your kid. In fact, many of them are just going to just placate your kid because they don't really want anything to do with it. Uh,
Yeah, like I
you're
said,
fine.
annoying. A lot of kids are not
Yeah,
really that interested in interacting with kids. They're not going to hurt them. They just don't want to interact with them.
right.
No, the only thing I've seen over here that was inappropriate was when I very first got here, and it went away very quickly. It was because of a cartoon that was on TV at the time. And it went away very quickly across the entire society. But in my school, it went away instantly because there was a
Yep.
little cartoon called Crayon Shinchan, and
Yep.
he was kind of a naughty little boy, and what he would do is put his two hands together and kind of roll his fingers in, but create a pointy with his pointy fingers together, and he would go
Mhm.
up to people's asshole and poke them in the asshole, right? Um, and I get it for a show, it's funny, but the
Right.
little kids were kind of emulating it for a very short time, and of course, no, don't do
No,
that.
we can't be having that.
Well,
Can't be
none of
having
that,
that.
none of that.
None of that.
Um,
Mm-mm.
and uh, and it's this teaching moment, so it's not like I picked the kid up and threw him across the room through the window,
Choke slammed him.
right? Um, but I did teach him that that's inappropriate. But
Yep.
yeah. Anyway, interesting. Let me give a quick geopolitical before we jump into today's stuff. Um, I'm not going to jump around too many places. Iran is in full collapse. Yay, collapse everybody. Very nice.
Nothing
Right.
of value was lost.
No, but the IRGC is seemingly lost complete control of the country, which is a great thing because getting Persia back would be nice.
Uh-huh.
Because they used to be pretty chill and a cool place, so that's nice. The Israelis are laying, of course, the Mossad is they're continually working in Iran. Lebanon is actually disarming the Hezbollah. And keep in mind, their current leadership is actually Christian, as Lebanon tended to be, right?
So what
Uh,
you're saying is, it sounds like what I'm hearing so far
mhm.
is nature is healing.
It seems so. It seems so.
That's good.
The
That's good.
Israelis have been hammering on the Yemenis again, as they should.
Yep.
America seems to have done some covert action in Syria and taken out a few of these still hiding terrorist leaders because we're
Mhm.
still getting Christians attacked in Syria. So America has done some manner of covert there, but then again, America has also been blowing up cartels in Mexico. And Venezuela
Excellent.
is working with them to arm them. So we sent a warship down to Venezuela, and it was like, buddy, hey there, buddy.
Listen,
Yeah,
listen here. Listen here, friend.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a full-on push against the cartels, and of course they've infested a lot of American places as well. So they're going to
A
have to
lot of
be dug
places,
out.
Chester.
Yeah,
A lot
they
of
are.
places, a lot of people are going to have to learn that their presence has been tolerated. It has not been accepted.
No,
There
no.
is a difference.
But we don't see the news covering this much, but what Trump is allowing them to do in dealing with these cartels is a good thing, a very good thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and of course,
The
we
only
also,
war I would support wholeheartedly is a full-throated invasion of Mexico to push the cartels as far south as possible, and then force that what we take of Mexico, which would just be like the north central part.
or just create
uh,
a neutral zone around the Rio
yeah,
Grande. Yeah,
could do that.
that
Could
would
create a
be,
neutral zone, or just put them as a basically a protectorate, right?
yeah,
A satellite state right underneath them, which they already are,
they
but we'll
are.
make it official.
Yeah, but that's a good thing. That's not getting covered, but it is happening, and that's great. Over here in Asia, of course, the Burmese situation, of course, Myanmar has not improved, but China is 100% the reason why that keeps, that full-on multi-sided war keeps going on is China 100%. And to
Yeah.
be honest, unfortunately, it's a situation that maybe an alliance of Asian countries backed by American power needs to go in there and deal with it. We'll see.
Maybe.
But the real question comes down to China. Now, China has been harassing the Filipinos for quite a while with their warships. They just had a situation where they were chasing a Filipino Coast Guard boat with not only one of their so-called Coast Guard ships, but also one of their warships. They're the same thing, by the way. And they screwed up. The Chinese screwed up, and they ran into and destroyed the front of one of their smaller ships, killing a bunch of men. Of their own men.
Wait, the Chinese screwed up?
Yes.
That's not like them.
Oh,
Wait
yeah.
a minute.
Yeah. But of course, they've been upping the rhetoric. But Trump has said very clearly, we are behind Philippines, and we've sent actual people over there to do. We have American boats in the region now, so we'll see how that
Yeah.
works out. The Chinese are still circling Australia, but Australia is led by absolute morons.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens. But Australia is really, really needs to get their shit together.
And seemingly populated by absolute morons, if I'm being honest. I don't know what the fuck happened to the Aussies. They cucked out hard about 30 years ago and just never recovered.
That's true. Now the British are also, cucked out really hard with progressivism has destroyed that country.
Yeah.
However, the English people are revolting, not only
Good.
physically but also with
They're
this
hard.
raise the flag thing
Listen.
that's going on. So
Listen, English people, I've given you a lot of shit, but you are my cousins and I love you.
yes,
You are better than this.
yeah,
You people fought back the Romans. You people, your bloodline is unbelievably strong. Remember who the fuck you are and stop it. Just
Yeah.
stop all this
they
stuff.
need
You
to
can
stop
do
it.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, Europe is a hot
We are
mess.
only exist because of you.
That's true.
That's how powerful you were.
That's true.
Stop it.
But Europe has trouble all across the board. But you're seeing a resurgence of conservative thinking. Of course, we've been seeing going on the past couple of years. China, like I said, there is some manner of coup going on in China right now. Who's going to win? We don't know. It is so hard to get information. 44 military leaders have ended up mysteriously dead somewhere.
Conveniently.
So that's interesting. You also have a uptick in people who dare to say anything in public disappearing. There's a lot of that going on. They've moved it away from being uniformed police into plainclothes police. However, that shift has happened. I think my wife just came home. Hold on a second.
Oh,
Baby.
oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard
Uh-oh.
someone come in. I don't know. Who knows who it is? But anyway, people always coming in and out of my house.
Japan. Japan.
Yeah.
The other thing, I don't know if you were going to talk about it, but our president, Mr. Donald John Trump, has mobilized the National Guard. He's sending them into many cities, I believe 19 states, to clean up the fucking cities.
They need
because the
to.
crime is outrageous in these cities. Apparently, and this is just the numbers that are reported, and we know these are extremely fudged. carjackings in Washington, D.C. since like 2012
Yeah.
have gone up over 500%. That's unacceptable.
Right.
I mean, we can make all the excuses. We talk about this, that, well, but there's no. Unacceptable is
Yeah.
what that is.
Well,
There's
that's
no more waffling, no more bullshit. This is outrageous.
yeah.
Outrageous.
Well, actually, that number has gone up in Hawaii too. And when I
Yep.
used to work in Hawaii, and
Yep.
that never even existed at all. So
Right.
now, but it's a bit of a epidemic. But yeah, no, in
It
America,
needs to stop. Needs
it
to stop.
needs to
Law and
stop. There's a
order.
lot of things that need to stop. Now, keep in mind one of the problems that Washington was having, and the presence has certainly knocked it down. Just simply having presence. Of course, dealing with the
Yes.
judges is another thing that he needs to do. With Congress needs to deal with that. However, the problem with Washington is the fact that Baltimore is right there.
Yes.
It's right there,
Well,
and
one of the
Baltimore
ways he
is
could
a
deal with the
ridiculously
judges,
dangerous city.
yeah, Baltimore needs quite literally invaded by the National Guard and needs sorted out.
Yeah, it
Uh,
does.
so does Chicago, which apparently is the next city
Yeah,
he's going into. Uh, one of the things he could do with the judges that nobody wants to talk about, but that used to happen and happened during the Civil War a lot. The president still has the power to do it. Is he can get warrants for their arrests for obstructing federal business, and then have them arrested when they overturn his stuff, because we already know all they're overturning, all this. It's just obstruction. We all know it. It always gets overturned once it gets to the higher court. It happens every time. Not a single one of these stay orders or whatever have done anything other than slightly inconvenience everybody and waste taxpayer time and money. I wholeheartedly believe he needs to put that option on the table. You can have the
yeah.
Department of
I'll be
Justice
back in a
issue these
minute.
warrants and then send the U.S. Marshals in, and the Marshals will handle that business. Have them arrested. Now, these charges may never stick. They may not go anywhere. But the point of this is two can play this lawfare game. If you want to use the law as your own personal little cudgel because you don't like what the president's doing when he hasn't violated the law at all, doing the things that he's doing, and the Supreme Court has backed him over and over and over and over and over again, you are not acting in the interests of the American people who elected him overwhelmingly to, especially mass deportations, to get the illegals out, to shut down the illegal immigration, which by all accounts he largely has achieved that. But the deportation stuff needs ramped up. It needs ramped up in a massive way. Everybody knows it. I think Trump knows it. I don't think anybody's really happy with the numbers. It absolutely needs to be escalated. And as long as these judges want to keep obstructing the will of the American people, this is one of these issues that it's not even questionable. It's not even debatable. The American people
Yeah,
want the illegals gone. Period.
yeah.
It's
And
not.
it's very
We've been
high.
running. Presidents have been running on this for 30 years and
Yeah,
getting elected. Even Obama ran on it, for crying out loud, and got elected.
and was more
The American
successful than
people,
Trump's being.
yes, the American people absolutely almost on it's one of the very few issues you can say wholeheartedly is a vast majority issue want
Bipartisan.
this
Yeah,
solved. They want it solved. They want these people gone, not dead, just gone out of our country. Go
yeah,
home. We're sorry your country's a shithole. That's not our fault. Get out of here. uh you do not have, there is no right to wealth. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's not a human right. You don't have a human right to wealth. You have a human right to, other things, but not to wealth. And if your measure of getting wealth is to come into someone else's country where you were not invited, where you absolutely are a trespasser, where you absolutely have broken the law, and many of these people have really broken the law and done terrible things, uh, you got to go. You got to go. You don't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. I hear he's been sending some of these people once they get a conviction to like Africa, and I love that.
yeah.
I support it. Support it
Well,
wholeheartedly. But what I was saying before you left there, Chester, is something that the president can do, but they very rarely have, is you can have these judges arrested for obstructing federal business. What they're doing is not legal. The only reason they get away with it is because we try to give judges a little bit of immunity to, meddling effectively, because we really don't want that system. But when a judge is completely out of control, the way to remove them from their seat, yes, is impeachment. But they're still an American citizen. They cannot break the law and just continue working. And what they're doing is obstructing federal business. The American people elected this president and this administration on two issues. The main one was the immigration situation, was getting the illegals out, mass deportations. He talked about it. It was promised to us. And every time these judges get in the way, and every single time the Supreme Court strikes them down and says, no, the president has the authority to do this. We can't put it any clearer than we have. He has the authority to do this. That, every time they obstruct, that should be, in my opinion, they should get a knock from the marshals. Just listen, you can't be doing this. Send them down, take them somewhere, federal holding. Give them their time. Let them chill on it. And I bet you this slows down real quick. I bet you stop seeing all these judges meddling, because that's all they're doing. We all know it's bullshit. They know it's going to get overturned. They know it's not real. This isn't some normal process of law. These are activists using the law as a weapon to try and stop a duly elected president from doing the thing he was elected to do.
Sure. But transition is painful. And it's not going to be easy, quick thing. It's going to have
one of the good
growing
things
pains.
that we're seeing, though, is somehow, I don't know when it happened, but somehow many of the Republicans have decided they don't want to just be endless cucks, and they actually would like to, govern. I know, it's shocking, but it's happening. And you're seeing these states now trying to basically redraw their district maps.
Yeah.
Like Texas, and I think Florida's getting ready to do it too. And apparently there's far more red states than there are blue states. So
because
there's a
the
potential.
red states haven't been doing it. The blue states have.
Exactly.
That's why.
If the red states do it back, you could have 100-vote majority in the House from the Republicans, give or take.
Yeah.
I think they should. Look, you don't have to like the way the game's played, but if you're gonna get on the court, and sometimes elbows get thrown. That's just what it is. You gotta be ready for it. Sitting there staunchly holding I'm gonna do it the right way, and then you lose all the time. Well, what the fuck did that get anybody? Then we just lost.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta play dirty. Just the way it is.
Another way you could deal with it, I think that would be more expansive, is having, for instance, instead of allowing them to create their districts, simply say that you get one, instead of doing it by population, you get one congressman, House of Representatives per county.
Good, but there's a lot of counties.
That I know, but I mean that would be maybe an easy way to deal with it. But I don't really care. This is all political bullshit anyway. But the simple fact of the matter, gerrymandering or not, the Democrats are in a very, very bad situation. Matter of fact, I don't think we've seen a party in such disarray since the Whigs. Yeah,
yes,
that's way back.
Yes. And the worst thing for them, is money can't solve this problem anymore.
No.
That'd been their solution for decades. They just throw a bunch of money away and cheat.
And that's been taken away with Doge.
Yep.
That's another reason they're panicking, because for decades and decades they have this free money to do whatever they want, and that has been knocked down. So that's another issue.
Well, even then, it's still like they outspend Republicans almost every time, and they still lose.
They do. Well,
because the people don't care. The propaganda doesn't work anymore. At least not like it used to.
But Democrats can't win an actual argument. They have to win in other ways, because they're always on the 20 side of the 80-20. They always are. So they know that, and they have to win through other means: bribery, gerrymandering, all cheating or whatever. They have to, because they can't win the argument. So what Trump is very smartly doing is he's dismantling as many of their nonsense ways of winning as he can, right?
That's right.
And he's forcing them back to the table. And you're seeing a lot of this pushback coming from the left, is like people saying, hey, we need to start having issues that we can debate on. You're seeing a lot of that. And of course, the actual people in charge of the Democratic Party are, no, we are progressive communists. They don't want to hear it, but
they think they're better. They're self-righteous.
They are.
See, I've said this for a long time, and I still think it's true. The problem the Republicans have is they're conceited. The problem that the Democrats or the left has is they're hyper arrogant, extremely arrogant. They think they're better than everybody else. Truly, they genuinely, deep down, think they're better than the average Republican person, for various reasons, some of which might even be valid, but it doesn't matter, because when you behave as such, you're repugnant to normal people, typically. Whereas a conceited person like the Republicans are, see, here's how they're conceited. Most of them think, at least they used to, I don't know about the newer generation, probably less so, but the older ones for sure, think that they're correct and that if they just talk to the person, they can just get them to see reason, they'll agree.
Right.
Democrats don't think that way. They don't
Which
care
is
if you
why they
agree.
tend to
Not
win the
really.
agreement, right? They don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the simple issue is with Trump taking away those avenues, the argument's back on the table.
Yep.
And we see this thing where I'm going to talk about it a little bit today when we get to entertainment, but this thing with Disney and that Variety article that talked about that Disney really is trying to find a way to bring men and boys back to the label, and they need some new IP. I know that's outrageous. You had two. What were you doing? But this idea with young men, Generation Z particularly, um, there's a disconnect across the board. It's not just entertainment; it's everywhere, right?
Yep.
And of course, because they're sick and tired of it, and it's like, well, if you're a progressive, right, a Democrat, um, did you not realize that that day was going to come eventually?
No, they didn't. They're so arrogant. Hubris. Pride goeth before a fall.
That's true.
Uh, they were so blinded by their glory. They thought, they're better than everybody else. How could they ever fail? How could they ever fall? Well, here you go. What happens when everybody else doesn't agree with you? What happens when 70% of the young men don't agree with you or
Yeah,
more?
yeah,
This is what happens. And now you see it in, like you said, with Disney, and they can't get young men to come see their shit. They're just not interested,
yeah.
because they know it's woke bullshit, and they just have no desire to be preached to by
That's
these
right.
idiots. Because here's what happens: the spell's broken now. There was a time where people did have this we use the word spell. They were bewitched by the grandeur and the allure and the movie stars and Disney. Ooh, and then you had politicians too, right? Who many of them were they had that allure to them,
Sure.
and people would fall for it. People on TV. That's all gone now. Social media has basically killed any of that or most of that, because people see these people for what they really are. They're just
Yeah.
people. They're
No, that's
just
true.
people.
And it is true. And you mentioned pride, and pride is very interesting. Japan has a big problem with pride, but in a very different way than you would imagine. Um,
Yep.
because the one of the big problems in Japan is they just live too damn long.
Mm.
And the problem is with a human, when you live too long, eventually you go to hit a point where dementia, not necessarily Alzheimer's, that's a specific thing, but dementia in itself starts hitting you, right? It is. You're not meant to live that long.
Mhm.
And your brain just kind of, nopes out after, a certain amount of time. So in your 70s, 80s, or even 90s, it's going to hit. Here in Japan, you have a population, huge population over 90 years old, right? Huge. And
Right.
dementia is just plagues all of them at one level or another. But the problem
Yeah.
I'm talking about pride is this: they're so prideful about shame
Mm.
that they won't, if you feel like today's going to be a bad day, right? Because I'm sure if you have that problem, that when it's coming. I've heard people say it, right? It's going to be a bad
Right.
day. Instead of letting the caregivers that are around you know that, they will be quiet and not say anything. And of course, they have a bad day, and that bad day can turn out really bad, depending, because dementia can make you do really, really weird and stupid shit, right? That
Mhm.
you wouldn't normally do. So there's a huge problem where the rest of us have to constantly keep an eye on the old people, right? I can't tell you how many times I've been driving over the mountain and grandma's out there in her nightgown, and
Yep.
because she's just walking just walked over the damn mountain. What?
Yep.
And I have to pick her up and take her back home. It's not just me, everybody. We're always on the outlook for this. But if the pride problem wasn't as bad as it is, they would say, "Hey, I'm having a bad day," to the caregivers around them, so everyone could kind of watch out more on that day than normal.
Right.
This is a problem. So pride can hit you in many ways. It's not just this arrogance of politics that we're talking about.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, going back to Marvel and Disney, like Booster says over here, they want to attract boys, and they had if only they had something like Marvel and Star
Oh,
Wars.
if only.
Uh,
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
stupidity
if
of that
only.
argument. Yeah.
A quick
Yeah.
question though, I was wondering, what do you think it would take? Let's say there was a situation, a reality, where they could pull this off and attract that young audience back. What would they have to do? Now, for me, I already know the answer, but this is just for me. The only way you're going to save Star Wars is pretend that those last three movies just simply don't exist. Just
Yeah.
just just decanonize them and move on. They didn't happen. We'll all just collectively be like, nah, nope, didn't happen. And then we can just move on. Do like a time skip. Don't even touch the Skywalker stuff because just leave it alone. It ended with Luke smiling at with his sister. That's good. Um, and then move on and go and jump into the future and create some new young heroes for the franchise and
Sure.
going forward. Which in fairness they tried to do with Rey, but because they can't stop tripping over their own dick, they made her everything that's wrong
Yeah.
with storytelling. She has
Sure.
no faults.
That
She doesn't fail at anything.
it's the failure.
Uh,
Yeah.
She's
Because
boring as
that's right.
hell. Like there's nothing interesting about her. The reason why Luke works and she doesn't is because Luke starts off a whiny little shit.
Yep.
He's kind of annoying,
He has a great
and
story
he
arc.
grows
Yeah.
into what he becomes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eh,
No, and that's
ugh,
true. That's the three movies. You have a great story arc with Luke.
yes,
And that is a very good point. Now, if they had done Ray, because keep in mind that trilogy is just especially the first movie, is a scene for scene copy of A New Hope, is what it is,
yes.
right?
They just upscaled it a
So
little bit,
that's
but yes,
it, and that's fine. Now, if they okay, well, we want to have a female instead of a male, we want to make Luke female. Okay, once again, like I said earlier, that's a feature, right? And
right.
if you had Ray going through all the same or similar struggles that Luke had gone through, that character would be far less, reviled, right?
Yeah,
And it's because she's perfect. Just think about it. She does everything perfect day one. She jumps in the
right.
Millennium Falcon, never even flown a starship before, and boom, she's just amazing at it. Awesome,
Yep.
awesome. Flies it better than Han Solo. She knows how to fix it, even though she's never been in the damn thing. The thing is
Hmm.
literally the Millennium Falcon, as far as I understand with canon, is actually a few centuries old.
It's pretty old by that point. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty old by that
Um,
point.
but yet she understands its systems, no problem. And this is just one example. The whole everything with Ray is she's a perfect Mary
She
Sue.
overpowers Kylo with the Force, and
Yep.
then in a fight after
Yeah,
just picking up a lightsaber.
and she beats Luke instantly, right?
Yes, yes. Now imagine if they had decided to do. There was a lot of ways they could have went with Rey that would have worked. One of them that I think a lot of people thought was she was going to end up actually being a Skywalker, either Leia's child that they didn't know about or something, or Luke had a kid. That's what a lot of people thought it
Yeah,
was
me
coming,
too.
or maybe even like a long lost cousin or something of the
Or a
Skywalkers.
student of
Um,
Luke. Yeah.
yeah, which would have been infinitely better and would have explained a lot more of the stuff. But my point is, there was a lot of ways they could have taken that and salvaged it. The
Oh,
first
sure.
one wasn't great. The ending of it was fine, I guess, but I think everybody was hoping Luke was going to do more than just stare at the camera. Uh, and they killed Han Solo in what was the least impactful death of a character of that scale I think
Yeah.
I've ever seen. Um, But regardless, other than that, it was mostly okay. We got most of what we wanted because we thought we were going to get more. We thought it was going to, they had a plan, it was going to go places. But it's interesting. They want to get back the young male audience that they've systematically, over the last 15 years, intentionally driven away. I wonder what they would actually take. I think one of the things that would have to happen is they have to at least, on some level, fix Luke. Because if they
Right.
you can't take one of the most important masculine icons in fiction of all time, period, in all of human history, Luke Skywalker, and do that to him. They did it to him on purpose. They
They did.
emasculated him. They turned him into a complete fucking loser. Uh, uh, Made him a coward and a child. Well, he wasn't a child, but his nephew, he's a family murderer, fratricide, uh, and or at least attempted. these sorts of things are not acceptable. And there's no way to get back to that. Because a lot of these kids that they're trying to woo, right? Let's say they're in their late teens now or they're in their early 20s. That's who they're talking about. That's who they want back. Well, they grew up with those as their Star Wars movies and they saw what you did. They're not coming back to you unless you correct it.
Yeah.
So if you want to use Star Wars for an example, the only way to get these people back is you're going to have to get away from the Skywalkers entirely, and you're going to have to, without apologizing officially, apologize by just saying the Rey stuff it just doesn't. It's not canon. Just
Right.
decanonize it.
Well,
Whoever's in charge of that, just pull the plug, and it's not canon anymore. That's not how Luke went out. Luke went out. Luke went out a hero, and that's the end of it. And then start over. And with Marvel, the way you would have to do it, I think that's an even bigger ask, and I'll tell you why.
interesting.
Star Wars had existed by itself in its own little bubble, in its own little galaxy, if you will, away from everything else. There have been many different iterations of Star Wars all over the place. But for a lot of people, Marvel is the MCU. Now, obviously, they know comic books exist and blah, blah, blah. But Star Wars has always been a movie franchise, and all the other stuff was extra. This was different. The MCU was a different beast than the comic books. So there's always been like a clear delineation, even though obviously
Sure.
it's heavily derived from that. It's a different beast. The comics is the main canon of Marvel. The movies were the movies. Star Wars is the opposite. The movies are the main canon. Marvel is, or I mean, all the other stuff is less so. So I think it's a bigger ask because this is it. Like this is their thing, and they fucked it up so royally with this MCU shit for 5 years, where they intentionally belittled, mocked, and derided masculinity. Not just men, not just the male characters, masculinity. Every male character, if they had a female counterpart, was subservient and cucked to her.
Or
Everyone.
just simply
Everyone.
swapped out. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
or swapped out, or made to be somehow submissive,
Yeah.
or dismissed, or even destroyed by her.
Yeah. The cowardly
That
male that needs the woman to calm him down has become a trope. Yes.
yes, yes, and that the only way to fix that, the only way is, and they're not doing this, by the way, by all accounts. The only way is to make stories. You're gonna need a string of them, and it may not work anyway. That focuses on good men. What we were hoping for with Superman, and I haven't seen it. Booster's seen it. He says it's great. A lot of people said they really like it. They really like Superman specifically. James Gunn actually did a good job with Superman himself, the character. What we were hoping for is he would be something like that. He would be a step in the right direction, and maybe it is. I'm not saying it's not. A step in the right direction towards getting us back to just a character who's good. That's it. They're just good.
Yeah.
That's all he is.
Well,
That he's not some shade of gray. He's not conflicted. He's not no. He's simply a good guy trying
yeah.
to do what's right.
I have a feeling what
That's
you
how simple it has to get. It has
Yeah.
to get that simple.
No, I understand that, but I have a feeling the reaction you're going to get is they're going to start throwing a lot more Punisher-esque characters at
Yep.
things and not
Yep.
understanding that Punisher is not a good man. He's
No.
action schlock is what he is.
Yes.
It's no
And he
difference
knows
than
he's
the
not a good man.
dinosaur. Yeah.
Frank's under no delusion that he's a good man. He's not trying to be. He just wants revenge. That's it. He wants to hurt people. He wants to hurt bad people.
Yeah.
That's it.
But I'm saying they're going to react that way instead of actually giving you good men, heroic men,
Right.
because they don't
Yep.
understand what they're doing. Now it
Right.
is interesting. On my view is quite different than yours. I think Star
Mhm.
Wars is done, in my
I do too.
opinion.
I
The
actually do too.
Marvel, the MCU, I think they could save it, but they're going to have to do what they don't want to do, right? So I think and the reason I think that is because Marvel has so many characters that you could pull
Yes.
out and do something with. Whereas
Mhm.
Star Wars, unfortunately, particularly in the movie format, has been kind of locked down to a very, very Skywalkery universe.
Yes.
And I don't know that they, have a shot, give it a go. But I don't know if you can save Star Wars. I think Star Wars is a done
I
deal for
think
at least quite a while.
the only way you can is you need to get out of that Skywalker
You do.
era
You do.
completely. You
They
got to
should
get
have
away
never
from it.
touched it anyway. They should have
Yeah,
left it
they should
be.
have either jumped ahead a few hundred years or went back and did the Old Republic, um,
That's what
because
they
the Old
should have done.
Republic's
The Old
awesome.
Republic. Yeah, they should have done
Yep,
that.
they still could. They still could do the Old Republic, and I'd actually really like that because I love the Old Republic era. Uh, but if they want to save it, they have
They
to get
do.
away from the Emperor and from all of that whole deal, and either
Yep.
jump way back like the Old Republic is, which is like 4,000 years earlier, or jump a few hundred years into the future. And this stuff is just history now, and now we
Right.
have a whole new set of problems, a whole new set of. You can even have the Jedi be back if you want to, and if you for some reason just have to keep Rey as a thing, fine. She did what she said she was gonna. She slowly rebuilt the order, and then the bitch died, and we never have to see her again. Fine,
Right.
if you have to, but just move forward or move back, but get away from this. Stay
Yeah,
away from
but
it.
I think the issue is this. Star Wars is the second largest IP in history,
That's right.
and the Bible being the first one, right?
That's right.
And what they did with Star Wars, the sting is too much. The
Yep.
sting of it, because it was cultural, it was iconic. Everybody knows Star Wars. Everybody knows Star Wars. Marvel, on the other hand, is more intimate. The people who know comic books are the people who read comic books. So
Right.
there's more things you can do, like Iron Man. The average person didn't know who the hell Iron Man was,
No,
right?
they heard of him. Maybe they heard of him.
Maybe
They heard of the song. They maybe thought he was part of the song from Black Sabbath. I don't know.
what
I
have
don't
you,
know.
but they don't know these characters. Therefore, there is, I think, room for doing something. But the sting with Star Wars is too extreme. It's just too
I
much.
agree. I agree. They
Um,
have to. The only way to do it is they have to get away from it. They have to get away from all of it. And it might take a while. It might take about 10, 15 years before
you might have to
the
just let
audience
it
is even
sit.
willing.
Let it sit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to go make a cup of coffee. So before I get into today's entertainment news,
Yeah.
I would like if you could, for a couple of minutes, um, get in a little bit more what's going on with Trump's actions,
Hmm.
because Trump has had just a ridiculous amount of success, way more than I
Yeah.
imagined he would have.
He's doing all right. Yeah.
And well, I think a lot of people want Trump to just do something instead of constantly waiting for the lawfare to be done. But I
Mm.
think it's very smart that he is following the law. Now, even though Democrats will say he just does whatever he wants, no, he doesn't. He wastes time waiting for courts appeals and things like that. Um, but him making that threat of sending National Guard to 19 separate places, there are a couple of rules that would let him do that, but do they
Mhm.
exist?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, then
Um,
talk about it. I'll be back. I'm going to make coffee.
yeah. So it's happened before. It's happened various times throughout history. The president can use his authority to call up the National Guard, and send them into wherever he needs to send them to even overseas if need be, if they need them for police duties or whatever. Anywhere that the United States government operates, the National Guard can be called into within reason. I don't know if it's totally that way, but definitely even active war zones. So what he's doing is, I can't remember what it's called. I know habeas corpus says he's not supposed to send the military in, blah, 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 blah. They're the military, but they're technically not. It's a weird delineation. It's kind of like in ancient times, in medieval times, you would have you'd have a duke, and the duke would have his own military, his own retinue, his own whatever that was called in that region, and that was his army, his people. But then his subordinates would often have their own as well, and they were directly under them. However, very often, and depending on the system, the duke could call them up. They could be like, listen, I need your whatever the shit, this group of men. I need your knights. I need your whatever they have. And typically, the count or the baron or whoever that was under him that he was leaning on would just acquiesce because they didn't want to rile up the Duke. They didn't want the political blowback of saying no. Well, the president and the National Guard system is kind of similar in function. Now, the terminology and stuff's different, but it's very similar. So he's able to do this. He's able to call them up, be like, listen, there's a problem here, here, and here. Go handle it. Now, typically the National Guard is done for just stable. They're a stabilizing force. They're not really a policing force, but they can be used for that. They're not really a fighting force, but they can be used for that. They're mostly just a stabilizing force, meaning when they're called in, it's to try and get order, bring order to a place. They're not there to kill people. They're not really soldiers, not like the army would be, or definitely not like the Marines. Uh, their job is stability. Their job is to bring to level things out, calm things down, not escalate. So him sending in the National Guard to these cities, it's already having this effect. In DC, apparently, it's already had the effect. The crime rates and reports of crime dropped dramatically as soon as he brought in some guardsmen to help patrol and help just basically stand guard, as they would. Um, he absolutely has the authority to do so. I was talking earlier about stuff that like Lincoln did, where he would use the power of the federal apparatus to go after judges, to go after congressmen, journalists, anybody really that got in his way. He did it, and by and large, he was allowed to. That's the scary part. Like that was within his purview. So Trump absolutely has the authority to do these things. The fact that the presidents typically hold back on it is more political than it is practical. In practicality, in reality, they have the authority to do all of these things. They typically just don't. It's a great example or a great analogy would be the Crown over in England. They have a lot of power actually. They just never really use it because they don't need to. The government is there to govern. They let them do their job. Now, there's arguments about whether or not they've been doing it, but that's not the point. They don't need to. The president and his ability to send in the National Guard is very much the same way. It's happened many times. There's in the state I live in Ohio, there's a very famous tragedy, we'll call it, quote unquote, known as the Kent State shootings. And basically, long story short, there was some hullabaloo. National Guard was called in, and a bunch of students got shot. It happens, but we can't go around and say things like, "Well, but that happened," as an excuse to allow this lawlessness to continue. You have places now, many of them big cities, where they just simply don't arrest people for anything. I'm talking even shooting people, they're not arresting them for. Shooting a person. At that point, if you're not going to do your job, somebody has to do your job. And if that somebody has to be the federal government via the president, so be it. The presidency has three jobs, three main jobs. He is the first foremost our diplomat and negotiator, or the person who makes our deals, and diplomat and ambassador. He is number one in that. He is the commander in chief of the United States military. In that, he is damn near supreme. There is very little anyone can do to overrule an order from the president. And three, he is the first and top senior chief executive of the law of the United States federal government, of this Constitution. His job is to execute the law, is to make sure that the law is followed. So the legislature creates it. That's your Senate and your House, of course. They create a law, whatever it is. This, da 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 da. They then hand this over to the executive branch. Now, the president has proxies, of course, like the Department of Justice and the what have you, the marshals, for instance. These are proxies of the supreme executive, which is the president. Their job is to enforce the law. So what Trump is trying to do is 100% in his purview as president. If people don't like that, I not even necessarily say I disagree with you. But if you don't like that, then you need to change the law. And in order to do that, you're going to have to change the Constitution. And that's a lot harder than it sounds, which is a good thing because we need that thing to be difficult to change in case idiots get in there and do things like, I don't know, try to, outlaw alcohol and create a humongous crisis for a decade or whatever it was, because you did so. these people who have been given positions of power and have abused them on a fundamental level, they are very, very fortunate. Chester was talking about this earlier. They're very, very fortunate we live in the times that we do. If they had done the things that they are doing, like, say, a mayor, Trump was talking about the mayor of Chicago being incompetent. She's not incompetent, Donald. I know it looks
He,
like that to you because you're a hyper competent person. She's evil. Or
he,
he, whatever it is. He's evil. He's an evil son of a bitch. He knows for a fact that he's hurting people. That's the point.
well, he's
He
a
wants to
racist
hurt
too.
people.
He's openly
He's a
racist.
racist, and he's probably almost certainly a communist. He's
Oh
evil.
no, 100%. Yeah.
These people are evil, and they are very fortunate, Chester, that they're in this era. Because if they had existed even 100 years ago, maybe a little more, the people of those cities would have killed them. They would have
Yeah.
had their head, quite
Yeah.
literally, for their behavior, for what they allow to happen. So Trump sending in the National Guard is, if it's anything, it's a mercy compared to what the people would have done to him.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, what I was saying while you were gone is he 100% has the authority to do that. That's long established. It's
Yeah, of
not even
course.
really debatable. I mean, Biden, when he got elected, the very first thing he did was lock Washington D.C. down with the National Guard, 30,000 guardsmen, I think it was, locked it down for almost a year.
Yeah, January
So
6th. Yeah.
yeah, so they absolutely have the authority to do this. It's a policing part of them being the chief executive.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, they have three jobs: enforce the law, execute the law. In fact, not even enforce it, execute the law. The commander in chief, that's the president, the commander in chief, and then the first ambassador, the first emissary, the first, he does all of those things. Diplomat, that's the term I'm looking for. That's what the president's main jobs are. And everything else that he's been given or had taken from, which is very, very rare that the presidency loses power. These are add-ons because somebody didn't want to do their damn job.
Right.
So if you don't like the fact that the president is sending in the National Guard to do the job that the people of those cities were supposed to do, like the mayors, you need to blame the people who weren't doing their job.
Yeah.
Period.
No, it's true.
Simple.
And what you're mentioning in the past where the people would stand up, and that's not untrue, but a lot of times the Praetorian Guard itself would deal with it,
Yes.
metaphorically.
This is
So
why
we've lost that.
the corporatized police, which is every police force in the country is a corporation. Spoilers, was a bad idea because it added a level of bureaucracy that keeps who
Yeah.
should be the first defenders of the people, their
Yeah.
guards, the
Yeah.
guardsmen, which is what the police are, from doing their job. And one of their jobs is to take out the head of the snake when the head of the snake is corrupt. It
But
always
now the
has been.
mayor is the one that's in charge of the police, and that's a mistake.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
very true. Very true. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the entertainment side of today. Ready?
Let's do it. Let's get them. Hang on. Let me open up this here. Let me get a look at this here. Ba-ba-bow. And Matt Reeves blocked penguin from Birds of Prey. Wait, what? Matt Reeves blocked penguin from Birds of Prey. Margot Robbie reveals. Oh, they wanted to use penguin
They
in that
did.
film.
It
I
was supposed to be
see.
the main villain, but Matt Reeves came in and said, "Nope, that's mine."
No, we won't be
Thank
doing that.
God. Thank God.
We got the
Although,
greatest singular Batman story ever made
yeah, it
in
was
live
great.
action with the penguin.
And of course they used Black Mask, and of course they had to make him gay, of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the witches, unfortunately, they kind of wasted that character. They could have done a lot with him. But we'll see. But Birds of Prey was shit movie because it was ultra girl boss nonsense, and no one watched it, and no one gave a shit, and it bombed like crazy. Shocking.
Yes.
Now, the interesting thing is that she does have a new movie out. I saw the trailer for it. It looks boring as hell. It's a bit of
Mm-hmm.
a fantasy romance with Colin Farrell, our Penguin guy.
Our boy.
Yeah. So she did end up working with him, and their movie is out soon. Like I said, I saw the trailer, but it's just the dumb romance
Look at that.
fantasy thingy. It's for women, and that's fine. Um, and this is another thing to keep in mind that that these people misunderstand. And it's an important factor because they're saying we need to get our boys back. Okay, fine. But here's a very simple fact when it comes to humans. If you make a movie for men, not only will you get the men in the seat or at the entertainment, you'll get the women there too. Now, why is that? The men are there for the action, for the heroics, and almost always the guy in that heroic situation is handsome, strong, physically
Or
capable,
becomes as such over
or
the course of
becomes
the
as
film.
such. And the guys are
Yep.
like, "Oh, cool, I'd like to be like him." Where the girls are
Right.
like, "Oh, he's sexy."
Oh my.
Oh
And
my.
here's a little dark secret, a little dark psychology. Women like violence.
They do.
They'll when it's right in front of them, they'll go, "Oh no!" But then later they'll be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
why
There's
am
a
I feeling tingling? Why
reason
am I tingling? Why
there's
am I
a
tingling
reason
right now?"
there's a reason why Rape Fantasy is the number one selling book for women in America right now.
That's correct.
Yeah. But
That's
anyway,
correct.
now with that said, on the other hand, if you make a movie for women, like say a rom com, only women are interested in that.
Typically,
This is
yes.
a reality. If you're making entertainment to understand your demographic, and this is their complete loss of understanding of this, is what's got them in their situation they're in currently. Now, she's
Right.
got a romance, a fantasy romance with him. Fine. He used to do that when he was younger. I have no problem with it, but it's not a movie for us at all. But she's still working. Good for her. I don't have anything against Margot Robbie. But
No, she's fine.
I
She's a
have
little ditzy, but
Yeah, she is. But I have to say, I'm very, very happy with Mr. Reeves stepping in at that moment and saying, nope, that's mine.
yeah, we
Thank
don't
you,
need
Mr.
that.
Reeves. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Listen, Matt, you and I probably don't agree on much, but we do agree on entertainment, it seems. And
Yeah.
I like your work.
Well, he's a
Like your work, sir.
professional. He's a professional, right? And we do have information coming up here I'm going to talk about a little bit later. Maybe I should just move that forward. Yeah, here, let's just move this up here. Go ahead.
Hang on one second. Oh, shit. I tripped. The Batman 2 leaks reveal Robin, Catwoman exit, and Mr. Freeze. See, now what's interesting is I said they might do Mr. Freeze. I said there's a way they could do it in that world and it make sense.
Okay.
So it could work in a more gritty version of Gotham. It could work.
Yeah.
We'll see though.
Well, and in this article, and I just put the Margot Robbie thing to kind of highlight the Penguin, and of course, it looks like we will be getting Penguin in this movie. Which why wouldn't you have a scene
Hmm.
where Batman goes and tries to get information from Penguin or something, right? That would be stupid
Yep.
not to. However, we've been following this, and we thought it was dead. It looks like it's not. But I think in this article, somebody let the thing that they weren't supposed to say out loud out the bag, because what Gunn has said is that, and I'll talk about some of the other aspects of this article in a minute, but what Gunn has said is this: um, he does want to keep Matt Reeves and Pattinson's Batman thing going as its own
Hmm.
entity.
The
Uh,
only one that makes money. Yeah. Hmm.
Right. But he doesn't want to use Pattinson as his DCU Batman. Now,
Right.
in that statement, a lot of information comes flooding to you if you've been paying attention. What that says is he is working on his own Batman that has nothing to do with this Batman. And
Yep.
I think that right there explains exactly why. He also says they will not be coming out in the same year. He is very clear about that. I think, but that explains exactly why Batman 2 has been delayed so much. Because Gunn said, all right, well, we're going to, Zaslav said, I got to keep you, so I will. But
Right.
I'm going to do my own thing first, so you guys sit over there. Because he says, finally, Matt Reeves has finished the script. We know it was done very shortly after the first movie. We all know this. It's
Yes.
a bunch of bullshit, but now he's saying, "Oh, it's done finally." But
Yep.
I think that inadvertent admission from Gunn lets us know exactly why we're years waiting for a Batman 2, because he's
Yes.
doing his own Batman.
Yeah, and he's here's what's happening. Reeves is like, all right, I got it ready. This is what I want to do. No, I'm going to do something like that. You got to change it, and there you go.
Hmm.
Because Gunn is in the way, effectively.
Right.
He wants to do his own thing. And in fairness, I'll be fair to him. He wants to do his own thing. He has his own plan, and he doesn't want there to be confusion, which is already going to be some because you're going to have two different Batman movie franchises going at the same time. I get that, but it's also too many cooks in the kitchen type situation.
It is.
Nothing can get done in that scenario. You're just constantly tripping over your own dick, and that's what we're seeing here. Like, the reason why Penguin was so successful is because it was allowed to just kind of be in its own little bubble, and they were just allowed to make something great without, from what I understand, there was like no interference except for maybe Matt was like, Matt Reeves was probably like, don't do this, do this, do this, because he had plans. But other than that, they were allowed to just play, and they came up with, I mean,
right.
And every time I think about it, it's more impressive how unbelievable that performance is.
It was great. And keep in mind, the director and controller of Penguin was a woman.
Yeah.
They keep going on about that, even though we've had plenty of females throughout history do great shit. Right? But anyway.
And I said it right after that. Give her a movie. Let's see what she can do. Give her something bigger, because that was phenomenal.
It was great.
That was unbelievable.
Let her do more. She did a great job. And of course, she had people around controlling certain things, as you should always have. However, now this gives more credence to understanding what we've been talking about with this for years with Batman 2. It seems that Reeves' original script was going to use Clayface. And now, with this all of a sudden finished script and the information coming out, we're not getting Clayface at all. So I have a feeling that the Batman, James Gunn's Batman, is going to be Clayface based, or at least he wants to save it for some future thing, because he nixed it.
And I think it'll fit better in his, because his is going to be much more supernatural in tone and overall, because it's part of the
cheek.
Yeah, it's part of the DCEU, which is bigger and grander. This is much more down to earth.
Right.
So I think, and I said it back in the day, I want to see what Matt can do with Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is a great character. He's a great character.
Yeah, no, he is. He's a very understandable
Tragic character. I want to see that. I want to see a good director who has a good eye for this stuff, who gets on a fundamental level why these characters have resonated for a century. He gets it. He clearly does. He did it with Penguin. They did it with Penguin, and they did it with the Batman.
We talked about that, Joshua. We talked about that. Yeah.
So I want to see him take Freeze, bring him to the big screen, let everybody see what Mr. Freeze is supposed to be. It's not Terminator in a refrigerator. He's supposed to be a tragic character on the level of Orpheus. Tragic. Like, he's tragic.
You know what he is? He is the abominable Dr. Phibes with Vincent Price. And you could do some form of that. Matter of fact, you could go wicked dark with that. Wicked dark. And I'm here all day for it.
It works in that world too, because it's dark.
Yeah,
a lot of dark shit happens in that Batman movie.
So what we have here is not the finished script. We have a rewritten script. That's right. So the main guy is going to be Mr. Freeze. Could be a lot of cool. We've talked about it. Catwoman is out, which I'm basically, I'm neutral about. I don't really care. I thought she did a good job. I thought the chemistry was good.
Yep. But, they left it up in the air enough that it's fine if she's not in this movie. That doesn't mean she can't come back later.
That's true.
But she doesn't need to be here for this.
Therefore, what we need to talk about is the Robin.
Old Robbie boy.
Now, when this rumor started coming out, Gunn was like, "That's ridiculous, you idiots." I mean, because that's how James Gunn talks, if you haven't noticed. But a lot of people have pushed back and said, "Not so fast, buddy."
It could work.
It could, although I don't know. I don't know about having Robin in this type of Batman.
It really depends on what Robin we get.
I'd rather have Robin in Gunn's version.
I do too, especially if it's going to be Dick. But what if it isn't Dick? What if he just skips over Mr. Grayson and goes to one of the more tragic ones, like Jason Todd?
Right. No, that would probably fit Matt Reeves better for sure. And Jason
Yes.
Todd is never the child situation that we had with Dick Grayson.
Right.
Now, keep in mind there have been rumors going around about the Nightwing movie,
Yep.
Gunn's Nightwing movie, and them wanting to cast who's that little scrawny manlet that did Dune? What's his name? It's like a
Chalamet.
French
Timothy
Chalamet,
Chalamet.
yeah, the French
Yeah.
name. Um, and it's like, holy shit. I mean, are you kidding me? How are you going to pull
If
any action off with that kid? He's such a
he
manlet.
puts on he puts on 10, 15 pounds of muscle, maybe.
No, dude,
But I don't
he's under 5 foot. He's a teeny
he's
little
not
thing.
that
He's a manlet. He's scrawny. Playing,
but under 5 foot's a midget, bro. He's not
dude.
that short.
No, him playing young Paul.
Ah.
No, him playing young Paul Atreides makes sense because young Paul Atreides is a kid. Makes
Yeah, he's 15.
sense.
Yep.
But him growing into a full-fledged man, he's already
Yep.
full grown. He is a micro midget. He's so scrawny. Look at him in anything else he's done. He's scrawny, 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 scrawny.
He
Do
is.
not
He
put
is.
him in an action film. What are you doing?
Well, he does pretty good in the second Dune movie. The action in that. And in fairness to him, he does. He's believable. I like the second Dune movie. I know you haven't checked it out because you didn't really like the first one, but aside from Zendaya, horse huffing at the screen for big parts of it, the rest of it was really good, and he was the best part. I said this when I watched it. When I went into it, I was like, I just don't know if he has what it takes to pull this off. He has to become a dark messiah. Does he have it? And he did by the end of it. He convinced me. I believed him.
All right.
Um,
That's
so
probably true,
as an
Joshua.
as an actor, I think Timothy Chalamet, or however you say his name, is is fine. But does he have what you're talking to? Does he have the physical to pull off Dick Grayson in a believable manner? Because you have to understand, every role I've ever seen him in, he's not Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson's a good boy. He's a good boy. That first and foremost, he is righteous. He's a better person than Bruce.
Yeah,
And
he
Bruce
is.
knows it, and Bruce loves that about him.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
he's
it's true.
great. He's happy for it. Dick is one of the only one who's probably better than him is Superman, right? As like morally, but they're right neck and neck. So if you're going to do Dick Grayson, you have to have somebody who can pull that off, who can bring that in, pull it off, and make it not come across as he's kind of a dork, right?
I'm I'm
Uh,
just sick of manlets. I'm sick and tired of
yes, we
manlets.
need somebody who is built like a man, has some size on him, has some what looks like athleticism about him. Dick doesn't have to be a giant. He's not a giant. He's not that big of a guy, but he also can't be a manlet. He needs to be a normal size or maybe slightly taller man, and with a nice lean athletic build. Uh, and Timothy doesn't have that. Now he
No.
could get it, especially in Hollywood. We've seen people do transformations. He could. Uh,
Oh,
but
dude, he's so
we'll
small
see.
boned. He's so
We'll
scrawny,
see.
dude.
He does. He does have a thin frame. He does have a very thin frame.
But
He
whatever.
does have a
That
very
has
thin
nothing
frame.
to do with this article. I apologize. I got on a rant. However, in this article, it does cover a few interesting things.
Yep.
Now, Catwoman is out, which, like I said,
No
I'm here, they're
Catwoman.
there about. Now, they're suggesting that he'll have another love interest, and I'm like, why?
Doesn't need it.
What do we need
Not
in this, especially in this
even in
format? Why?
even in the other movie, she wasn't really a love interest. I mean, there was a little bit, but it was never. They weren't necking. It was never
Yeah.
like that. So I don't think it's necessary.
No, I don't think so. And this Matt Reeves one seems to be focusing far more on the Batman than it does on Bruce Wayne himself, and I'm fine with
Yes.
that. Matter of fact, Pattinson has always been way too sickly, in my opinion, to play
Yep.
a billionaire playboy. He just doesn't have that
Convincing
look.
Bruce.
He's always
Yeah.
looks like he looks like he's got malaria or something.
He looks
Um,
like he's gotta be about to be sick. Yes, like
yeah,
he's
he
he's like
always
right. You know how when you're not sick yet, but you can feel it coming? That's what Robert Pattinson looks like. Right there.
Let's see here. So David Simpson is trying to convince me that Chalamet is 5'10". Sir, sir. If that's true, then I am 7'9".
Well, you are a kaiju man.
I am.
You are surrounded by very, very small men all the time. Your perspective might be askew, Jester. Might be
Maybe,
askew.
but also with Chalamet, if you see him in anything else he's done, he just plays small. Whereas Tom Cruise,
Yeah,
we know is a manlet, but he plays big. Tom is good at it, and I'm not saying Chalamet couldn't work himself into the Tom Cruise effect. He could,
Mhm.
but he's just so damn scrawny, dude.
Yes.
He's not 5'10". That's not even. What are you talking about, dude? Um,
Well, in Hollywood, you subtract 2 to 3 inches usually, what they bill themselves
or
as, and that's
10.
typically it. He's not 5 foot tall. Get out of here. Zendaya's like almost 6 foot tall, and he's about as tall as her.
Yeah, she's not that tall either, dude.
She's pretty tall. She's pretty tall.
She's not 6 foot, dude. She's not. She's
Well, I
probably
know. I'm
around
not
five
saying I
six,
didn't.
5'7".
No, I bet she's probably 5'9".
No,
She's pretty tall.
no.
Pretty lean.
Please stop
Long.
talking about ugly girls. Thank you. Now, this right here. Now, James Gunn has pissed off Jeff Schneider quite a bit because he's basically calling him a liar. And Schneider, along with Rudolph, Grace Rudolph, who is rather hated within the communities that we would be connected to, because she is a Wookiee. But both of them are pushing back against the Robin in this. If it is Jason Todd, I can see you doing something with that. But in general, I'd rather not have Robin at all in Matt Reeves' Batman. Of course, she's just out 100%. That is done. Now, the Mr. Freeze things, we have no name being attached to it. But it's this has been being put forward for quite a while. We know this. We talked about it. And I once again think it could be really cool. Now, it is going to be shooting next spring, so which tells me that Gunn is in the process of doing Batman right now. There
Mhm.
are his Batman. There are things going on with it as we speak, right?
Yep.
I'm that tells me that. Now we are going to get Robert Pattinson back, of course. We're going to get Andy Serkis as Alfred. What did you think about his Alfred?
He was the worst cast,
It
in my
was.
opinion.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah, and he
And it
wasn't
wasn't his
terrible. He's
fault. It
just
wasn't his fault. Yeah.
yeah, he's just not Alfred, right? He's just not.
No.
I don't know.
No.
Nothing about him screams surrogate dad, and that's
Yeah.
what Alfred should be. Surrogate dad.
Of course, we're going to get Jeffrey Wright back as Gordon. Honestly, I like the actor, but his Gordon was the worst part of that movie for me.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
He wasn't.
goofy.
It, it
Yeah.
wasn't Gordon.
It
He wasn't
wasn't Gordon.
Gordonish.
And this isn't
Yeah,
about the race swapping thing either. He just wasn't good at the role. Which, like I said, he is
yeah,
a good actor. I like the actor. I do like the
yeah.
actor. But I didn't like his Gordon in his all. Hopefully he'll brush clean that up a little bit. And of course Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
The best.
Um
The best.
the
The
best,
king.
yeah. You know, it looks like Gunn has been being quite a pain in the ass.
Hmm.
But as far because I think what's happening is this: Gunn wanted to come in and just clean the board, is what he wanted,
Yep.
and I get that. I understand that. I understand that thinking. But because the Batman's the only thing making money, Zaslav said no, right? And
Yep.
therefore he was stuck with it. But he's still been being troublesome in the background with it because I think he's mad that he's been forced to keep it. I think is the issue. I don't know that he has any trouble with Matt Reeves particularly, but he's giving Matt Reeves trouble. And it sounds like he's been continuously giving trouble to the point that he really is trying to keep this movie from coming out altogether. However, Zaslav in the background keeps having to smack him in the head and say, "Nope, we're getting it."
It's
So
working. It
it's not,
works.
but it sounds like it's got to the point where Zaslav has had to actually step in personally.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
Because we know by all accounts that Zaslav is a big fan of Reeves's work.
me
He
too.
was a big fan of those movies, and like we said, they made money.
They
So the
did.
Batman made around. I'm looking at it right now. Made 772 million in the box office worldwide. It made about four, or made what are we at? 369 million domestically, 403 million internationally.
Yeah,
So it made its money
it
big
did.
time. It did very well. Then it obviously did very, very, very well on streaming. I think it was one of the biggest streaming things of all
They made a
time
big hit
when it
there,
finally yeah,
and
yeah,
it also did some merchandising as well. And keep in
tons of
mind,
merchandising, and then you had the Penguin, which
right?
everybody loved. Even the critics and the fans both agreed this was amazing, which
Yeah,
never happens.
that's true. Can you do me a favor and check what they're stating was the budget for this film, please?
Sure, friendo. Let's look at old Box Office Mojo right now. Let's see if it'll tell me. Where is it? Why is it not telling me? Usually it'll tell you right here.
Yeah.
Let me see. Hang on. I'll find it. Don't you fret.
Yeah, it's been long enough that if you just search it, it'll pop up because
Hmm.
in the early days of movies, a lot of times it's hard to find the budget. But it's been so many years by now, it's certainly been put out there.
The original budget, according to Wikipedia, was 200 million, but according to the AI, it was approximately 185 million.
So
So
say 300 million all in.
yeah,
So they have cleared that by
they
a
cleared
good
that
80
domestically
million.
alone.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
cleared that about 80 million just for the theatrical run, plus the
Yep.
probably 50 million or so they got from Netflix.
Yep.
So and then merchandising. So they probably put $200 to $300 million in their pocket. And for a modern film, that's a lot of money, right?
Especially when they're bleeding
Yeah,
money. They're
yeah,
bleeding money. This film alone probably kept the lights on a little bit for them.
it probably did.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that would be why Zaslav is like, no, 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 we're gonna keep making these till they stop. We're gonna ride this till it bucks us. And Batman always makes money. I don't think there's ever been a flop of a Batman movie, has there? Like a genuine flop? I don't think that's even the shitty ones in the '90s. I don't think so. Uh, so they know that this is a moneymaker for them. The gamble is really that James Gunn wants to make his own Batman series based on Brave and the Bold, which is fine. I think that can be fine if done well. Um, but it's a big gamble, and it's why he said that. And I don't know if this came from him or if it came from Zaslav or if they just agreed on it that they're going to make sure these movies come a year apart because they don't need to compete with themselves,
Right.
right? Uh, which is smart. That's what they should do, but it shouldn't take this long. It's gonna be 5 years between the release to when they start filming the next movie. That's obscene. There's no
Yeah.
reason for that. Pattinson's ready. He
Well,
said he's just wait. He's been
yeah.
waiting. He's like, what's going on? Uh, we know Matt Reeves would do it if he was ready and raring to go. There's no reason it should have taken this long, other than corporate incompetence and meddling by a very insecure man who makes way too many pedophile jokes on the internet.
Yeah, well, and we know we kind of suspected, but this article rather confirms that the reason it's been pushed back so much is because of Gunn and his little
Yeah.
petty bullshit.
Yeah.
I do believe David that I think it was David that said that. Yeah, I do believe David. He was playing Henry V in that movie. But yeah, he's not. I didn't say he's not a bad actor. He's just scrawny. I'm just sick and
Yeah.
tired of manlets, dude. I'm just sick and tired of it. I mean, they keep trying to sell me, and they have to do all that extra work, all those little things with camera work, cinematography, on-set tricks, all the things they have to do to make a little dude look like an actual man. And they've been doing it since day one in Hollywood. I understand that, but I'm so sick of it. We've been getting so many of these soft, effeminate little manlets. Give me a freaking dude, please. At least
Well,
Pattinson is a little bit more masculine of a dude, but he looks like he's got frickin' malaria all the time. I
he
mean, what the
he
hell?
also was man enough to bang Catwoman on the Batmobile.
He
So I
was.
mean, that gets you some that gets you some man
It
points right
does.
there.
And dude, she is smoking.
Yeah, no, she ain't bad. I'm all right. I'm all right, Rob. I got you, Robbie. Good job,
Yeah.
my boy.
Hands up,
Listen,
bud.
he's like, I'm a movie star. I'm gonna take advantage of this.
Hmm.
Yep,
Hmm.
you sure are. You're Batman, motherfucker. So anyway, speaking of
I
scrawny
just
men,
hope he impressed her though.
well,
You know.
she's not coming back for the next movie, so I don't know. What does that tell you?
Maybe not.
Uh,
That's unfortunate. It's too bad.
um, speaking of scrawny men in this franchise, apparently the rumors I've heard, I don't know if this is still the rumor or not, but I've heard that there's rumors that our favorite man, Henry Cavill,
Mhm.
is in talks to be James Gunn's Batman, to be his Bruce Wayne, and
Oh.
I support that wholeheartedly.
Oh yeah, but I don't want Henry in a comedy, dude. Oh, well, I mean,
I
I
don't.
don't know. His League of well, I forget what it was called, but the World War
Yeah,
II movie had a
it's
lot of
pretty funny.
comedy in it, and it was pretty
Yeah,
good. Um,
yeah.
and I don't know. Yeah, Henry, sure, we'll see. But Henry just
Well,
gets screwed over. He's the most wasted actor in Hollywood, dude.
it'll baffle me to the end. It probably baffles him, to be honest. He probably just doesn't. He's probably one of these guys who's like, I just can't think about it because if I do, I go crazy
Yeah.
because it doesn't make any sense why these things keep happening to him. But no, I'd love that. I don't know if it's going to happen. It may not. But I would love that. I think he would make a great Bruce Wayne, especially if we're going to do a whole universe situation where he's basically the de facto leader of the Justice League. Um, you would need one who's a little bit older to pull that off, I think, and
Yeah.
Henry's just the right age for that.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So,
There's a lot of roles he's perfect for right now. We're going to get into one here in a second.
yep.
But Dave, I understand 100% what you're saying about Pattinson and Twilight. I get it, but he always had more physical presence than Chalamet. He's always
You see
had
what
more
Booster said?
presence. Yeah,
Booster said, "You can't bring us manlets down. We do that to ourselves."
that's true. It's a good. Well, you have less gravity issues than the rest of us.
Well,
You know.
here's why it might work, Joshua. Is because it's been a long time since he's been Superman. One and two, Superman and Batman are twins. Very strangely, they look identical
They do look very
in many
similar.
many iterations.
Yeah.
So it could work, and you could even, especially since Brave and the Bold, I would assume is going to be much more lighthearted. You could even make a tongue in cheek joke about how you kind of look like
Yeah,
Superman.
they usually with Superman, they always kind of put the curl in there, the Superman
Yeah,
curl, and that's a lot of time the main distinction. Because if you look at a
yes,
lot of animated stuff and you just look at their face frame, they're the same. They've always been that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
It is what it is. That both dark-haired, broad-jawed, strong dudes.
Blue eyes,
Yeah. Anyway, are you guys ready? I got excitement for you. Are you ready to get hyped
excitement.
up? Are you ready to?
Folks,
Are you ready?
we're about to get exciting.
We're about to get super excited. It's what we've been waiting our whole life for. Guys, just get the popcorn and get ready because, boy, howdy.
Oh boy.
Holy shit.
Michelle Yeoh's, or however you say her name, Blade Runner 2099 series arrives on Prime Video in 2026. Yao, how do you say her name? I don't know how you say that shit.
Yo.
Yo. Yo!
Okay. I lied. All right.
You did.
I
You're
did.
a vile. I'm not even gonna. No, I'm not. You know what? You're just a liar.
I'm just a
You're a
liar.
lying man.
I'm a liar. Um, they're so desperate to put her in any goddamn thing they can.
Yeah.
I don't know whose dick or other orifices have been sucked, but she is their go-to for some reason. Even though she's
They like
kind of
her.
a flat actress, and her action is okay. She's always been kind of an action hero. Now, do keep in mind, it was Jackie Chan that saw her and gave her an opportunity in a movie, and it's also
Oh, I believe.
her that has been bad mouthing Jackie Chan ever since he
I
gave her
bet.
her
Yeah.
freaking career, right?
Yeah. I bet he gave her more than that. Yeah. Old Jackie.
Maybe.
We know how Jackie is. Come on now.
I don't know. I
Oh,
remember
he was.
I've seen her. I know he is like that, but I saw her first movie. She is fair at action cinema, but she's never been a looker, dude.
Yeah, but listen, it's Jackie
Jackie has
Chan.
standards.
On a movie set, I bet his standards are
Maybe
a little
not. Maybe
lower.
yeah, that's fine. But anyway, uh, this is just ridiculous because the general consensus is they think she's going to be the Decker character just in the future. So we're
Mm,
once again girl power, which is what
hmm
the only thing she does these days is girl power.
Which is
So
strange because she doesn't have to. She's a good enough actress; she could not do
yeah,
that.
no,
But
she
it
could
is
just
what it
do
is.
normal. But anyway, you're going to get her, and she's going to be either the lead or she's either going to be straight up a human Decker or she's going to be a replicant Decker, which is redundant because Decker was always a replicant. Come at me, bro. All right. Anyway, so yeah, this is something that's underway. They are going 50 years in the future, of course, to distance themselves from everything, which is a smart move, right? And of course, they're talking about the past things here, 50 years later, from the 2017 film, which was quite nice. This is going to be a series, not a movie, which is interesting. We also have some people here that you see. I don't know them. Maybe you guys do know Hunter Schafer, Tom Burke, Louis Gribben, Will Coban, and Hugo Hamlet, which are all men, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It's all men. And if you got to do Blade Runner, you got to have some sexy chicks in there, dude. You got to have at least a couple sexy chicks. Although some people might argue that Hannah is not a sexy chick. Fair enough. But anyway,
Well, if you're
uh,
gonna do cyberpunk, I mean, sex appeal is a big part of it.
it is.
Degenerate
It is. It
sexiness.
is. But there's not a lot of information here that they currently are filming. With this guy who I've never heard of. Although the one thing I have heard that, or this girl maybe, is Halo, and I know that was absolute disaster.
Yeah.
And Ridley Scott is a producer, which doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, he's just getting money.
Yeah,
They're just paying. They're cutting him a check because
it's his
he's
baby.
the man,
Yeah,
his
yeah,
baby.
yeah.
Um,
Anyway,
I'm
not
of the
much.
I'm one of the people in these circles who just never liked Blade Runner. It never. Eh. I love cyberpunk stuff too, and I just never.
It's not for
I don't know.
everybody. I get it.
I think it's probably because it's one of those things where people have always sold it as this it's all like really sold it,
Yeah,
and I'm just like, yeah, it's
but
good. I mean,
one
it's all
one of
right.
the problems with having Michelle in it, other than the more girl boss crap. And I kind of wonder because it is filming, so I guess they're going forward with it. But the real problem is this also indicates that it's just going to be heavily action oriented. And Blade Runner
Mm,
is not an action film.
mm-mm,
It is
mm.
not an action story. It's a human story. And it's the question being asked, as novel as it might be, is what does it mean to be human? That's the question that is being asked in this series from Philip K. Dick's original story, right? Um,
Basically, every Android media ever created.
right.
That's the question.
But with her in it, this indicates that it's going to be action heavy, and it shouldn't be. This needs to be acting heavy. This needs to be a drama. Right?
Mhm.
And we had Harrison Ford did a great job with that, and everything around it. The acting was very solid. I would even say, was it Ryan Gosling? Was he the one who played the replicant
Yes,
in the second one? I think it was. He's a solid actor who can do drama. She can't do that, dude. That's not who she is.
we will see.
So, but it's like, I mean, God, you people. Anyway, I just put it there for a little bit of a laugh. Yeah, moving on.
Here it is. Disney admits Marvel and Star Wars drove away men, now scrambling to win them back. Well, I mean, this, Matt, if you picked these pictures, you did a phenomenal job. These are two main reasons why it happened.
Yeah,
You
it is.
have resting bitch face scowling at you, and then women hear me roar on the other side. This is it. This right here. You want to know the problem with the West? These two women are encapsulating it perfectly
They
in this
are.
one image.
And Daisy Ridley, compared to Brie Larson's emoting ability, it's like she's a freaking superstar.
Yes.
And Daisy's very boring, but
Yes.
Brie Larson has literally one face,
Yeah.
just one, where
That's
at
it.
least Daisy can smile. You know,
It's
um, yeah,
you can't you cannot intentionally create ugly women who are not attractive. Um, who you do go out of your way to make sure they stay unsexualized in any manner,
mhm,
and then get all confused when men don't want to watch them in films. I'm
right.
sorry to tell the world that is Hollywood, something you for some reason decided you forgot. Men will watch movies starring women. They have to be hot though.
Yeah, or
Oopsie.
endearing, motherly, something like that.
Yes, or something like that. Yes, or but usually even those will have either a hot younger
A
woman as
cutie.
well,
Yeah,
or they'll have a male actor that the men also like. Um,
yeah.
you can't. It's just the reality of our nature as people. Women don't draw.
Mhm.
They just don't.
I
And it's probably largely due. I mean, there's exceptions, of course, but by and large, it's just something psychological in us. We don't see them as heroic
That's
in the
true,
same
Roger.
way that we do a man, to where we want to watch the man's story. A woman's heroism is typically much more persistent. It's more about
That's true,
persisting,
David.
persisting,
Yeah,
persisting than it is about overcoming a particular evil or
yeah.
obstacle or whatever it is, right?
Right. Yeah,
And that's hard to make a movie about.
it
That's hard to
is.
make an interesting,
Well,
compelling movie about.
the reason I put this up here, we already talked about it a little bit. Everyone's talking about this kind of statement coming from Disney that Variety covered, and then everybody covered it. Before I get to that, though, how uncomfortable you think Daisy Ridley was doing this shoot? They strapped her tits down so hard, dude.
Yep.
And how
Yep.
how uncomfortable and painful must it have been for her to do that? Because they did everything they could to remove those tits, man.
They
Everything.
did everything they could to make her as androgynous as
Oh
possible.
yeah, they wanted her to look like a man, a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah,
But I mean, and she does actually have breasts, so they locked her down, and I just imagine she must have been very uncomfortable
probably.
during it.
She should do what many people would do in that situation. I'd get a lawyer and sue for mental
Yeah,
language.
there you go. Yeah, there you go. Get him, Grimlock. However, I put this up here for a different reason. Because a lot of people are mocking the statement of we need a new IP to bring the young men back, and everyone's mocking the idea. Well, you had two, you jackasses. Now, Disney,
You didn't have two. You had the two biggest.
they did. But here's the thing. This is what I want to do, Grimlock. Okay, I don't want to talk about that point because that point is moot and stupid, and we already covered it earlier today anyway. But here's what I do want to cover. Disney understands from their point of view that Star Wars and Marvel is done and there's nothing they can do about it. Therefore, they're looking for a new IP to try to bring back the young men. All right. So we know that they should just try to fix these two things, but that's not how they're thinking. Of course, they're not thinking that way. Therefore, here's the question. Let's think like Disney for a second. What IP could they grab that could make them big gangbuster money and bring back for the male audience that might actually be fun to see done in that vein? What IPs could they possibly grab to get the young men back?
There isn't one.
Well, but
I'll, I'll, I'll be
that's the
I'll be I
question,
will be the
Grimlock.
bearer of bad news here. I'll be the
Hmm.
bearer of bad news. There isn't one because one, um, you had, like I said, you didn't just had two. You had the two biggest, the two easiest ones to print money with. You had you had the two franchises that you had everything laid out for you. You didn't have to do anything. This is how badly they fucked up. You took a brand with Star Wars that had 50 years of, you could say, brand recognition, extended EU, uh, a huge fan base, and then you have Marvel that had 60 plus years. Everything was laid out for you. Now the problem for them, because Bob Iger, and this should be brought up more, he's not a good CEO. He is he's what a lot of people accuse Eric Bischoff of being.
Eh,
He was just a dude. He's just a dude with a checkbook.
yeah.
All Bob Iger is really known for is acquiring shit. He can't lead. He's he's never had a good idea. Any idea he's ever had has involved buying shit. It, and to show that he's not even good at that because he's overpaid. You can argue he's overpaid for every major acquisition Disney's made significantly. But here's the even bigger problem for Disney. If you think that all it's going to take is to buy a new IP, well, the other problem is other companies were doing similar bullshit to you, where they have IPs that were famous and that was considered male centric, that was stupidly tried to be turned to a female centric brand. So where do you go? Oh, also, in addition to Marvel and DC, you bought Fox and everything that came with Fox that you also ruined, like Alien, Predator. Where else is there to go? Amazon's fucked up Lord of the Rings and Wheel of Time. What could you what could you possibly get? Am I missing something here?
Yeah,
No.
no, they've screwed
No.
up a lot of stuff, but you're still not answering my question.
That's what I'm saying. Because there's no answer. What can you buy? What can you actually buy that would save them?
Well, Thundero.
What could they acquire? Nothing. I think I'm with Grimlock on this. I don't think there's anything out there that's left that they haven't either already tried or someone else has already tried. The reality of it is they don't need to. They need to stop being little retards and do exactly as I said. They need to spend the next half a decade or more and make stories about strong, conservative, I know it's scary for them, men that men want to see with hot women all over them motherfuckers. That's what they need to do.
Duke Nukem.
And if they did that,
anybody?
no, they killed
Duke
Duke. The
Nukem's been
franchise is
canceled.
dead.
Duke Nukem's been. That's what I'm saying. You go down the list, like the only other
one they
big
have
IP
currently that they could do it with, that they still have a chance. They're gonna fuck it up. There's only one masculine icon in the comic book space that they have currently still that Disney themselves haven't really touched, and that's Wolverine. But they're gonna fuck him up. We all know
they've
they're
been
gonna.
trying that in the comics. They've been fucking him up for years.
But if they pulled him off, if they did it, if they found somebody new to take over for Hugh that actually was even better at it somehow, right? And they told some very masculine stories with a very much he's Wolverine. He's hyper masculine guy. And they didn't shy away from it. They didn't try to shame that. They just went in there and did it. I think they could slowly get that audience back. But you have to remember, the MCU wasn't an overnight success. These movies were originally just individual movies that they had a plan, that they were going to turn into something more. It didn't become something more until much later,
Right.
and then everything
need to
got
go back to
melded
that.
together.
They need to go back to that thinking, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
The MCU doesn't happen. It simply doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Hang on one second. The MCU doesn't happen if Iron Man, the first Iron Man, isn't such a huge success and isn't such Robert Downey Jr. being a man. In that movie, he is a man. He's not a boy.
Yeah.
He's not conflicted and whiny or any of that shit. He is one of the most masculine stories Disney's ever done. And that's one of the reasons why it worked. Now they don't want to admit that. Of course they don't. But then you notice the Avengers, they could have brought in the Wasp at any time and had her been one of the core Avengers, as she should have been.
Yeah.
She should have been. Yes.
But they didn't do that because they knew, or at least somebody did, that women don't draw. They just don't. It's just reality. You don't have to like it.
Movie, yeah.
Yeah, they just don't draw for action and superhero films. They just don't. And there's exceptions here or there, fine, but by and large, that's true. So they stuck with the 4 core men.
Yeah.
And that's who they ran with.
Yeah.
And all of them, except for what Thor became near the end, but all of them were manly. They were men. And they acted as men. Captain America and Hire being a little bitch. Tony's not being a little bitch. Like, that's just not what happened. Hawkeye's not being a little bitch. Thor's not being a little bitch until, the end there when they finally turned him into a joke. But up until then, he was just being Thor.
Yeah.
It worked. And if they want to get it back, they don't have to reinvent the wheel. They don't need a new franchise. They need to go back to what works and start from there. And
One
what
day
works
at a time
is
type of
manly
filming.
men.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's true. Now the chat over here has put forward the idea of Fortnite. Several people have. Stop being stupid,
Yep.
chat. Okay.
Well, it would make money.
They
It would make
also
money.
it might. Joshua also mentions Pixar's Warhammer. A Pixar Warhammer 40K. Kidoki. Marvel
Roger,
Knights.
Netflix has fucked up Voltron.
Yeah, they have.
Voltron's
Thundercats, and of course Voltron. But
they keep teasing Thundercats, but then it never happens.
Here's the reality. Disney fucked themselves. Because at least our generation's probably not going to forgive them anyways. They lost it.
That's true. But my question on the table, Adrian, is this. Think like Disney. What IP could you grab to bring the young men back?
They have an IP. They have a bunch of them.
That's not my question. I know they do.
There is none.
But I'm saying let's think like Disney. So you're also saying there is none. Let's see what the AI. Okay, no, I'm not arguing. I'm just asking a question.
Because young men, because we're not young men, first of all.
That's true.
Young men aren't into the same things that we were.
And it's mostly due to Disney.
It is.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So I mean, what are the young men thinking is what I'm trying to get to.
Well,
right?
Okay,
what would they like is my point.
I don't know, because I am around young men quite a bit throughout my daily day, because I have quite a few of them under my belt when I'm working that I'm in charge of, and I'm going to tell you they're not into the same things that we used to be into.
Sure. No, I understand that. And thus the question. I did ask AI, so let's see what the AI says. Metroid Prime, female lead. You could make something out of Samus.
Nintendo has
that's not young men.
Yeah.
It could be if it was done right.
But it's not. That's not the game. I'm trying to tell you.
I know, I get you.
Well, not just that. You live in Japan. Japan would certainly start World War III. Nintendo would urge Japan to start World War III before they sold their IP.
That's fair.
In America.
That's fair. The other one here mentioned is Arkham Horror, which is a very successful board game run, and there are some video games with it, which basically is Lovecraftian stuff. I'd love to see some more Lovecraftian movies personally, but once again, with the young people.
You want me to answer your question
HBO has that.
The only franchise out there that's mostly untainted in movies or in anything else that young men still interact with is Call of Duty.
Okay.
Yep.
If they bought up the rights to make a Call of Duty franchise and they did it properly, that would work. But that's it. There's nothing else no, they're not. There's nothing else at that level. They bought them and they fucked them.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
That's not going to pull in the kind of money they want. Those kind of things like police movies or army things.
As Chris.
Well, Call of Duty's huge. Call of Duty's huge. It would if they did it well. It's bigger than Halo was. It's massive.
Yeah.
As Chris Gore said, Disney buying Marvel and Star Wars and turning it into a girls' brand was easily the biggest, most cataclysmic mistake in the history of Hollywood.
Yes.
Because now, like you said, just think about it. They're worried about young men right now. Those little the guys they're trying to appeal to right now are the little
young men
that fuck them 10 years ago.
Yep.
Yes, and that's what I'm trying to say.
That was the teenage and here it is. It's actually, if you think about it, you could say 3 generations, because the teenagers who became young, who became men from the period of 2015 to 2025, then the kids who were maybe 10 years old who are now 20, and
Yep.
the kids who are like in that 5 to 10 range now, there's nothing for them. The only things that are out there, and they just got bought up in the Skydance merger, was Star Trek and TMNT. Both are owned
Yep.
by Paramount.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
not going anywhere.
Yep.
TMNT is the only thing you could have possibly bought, and even they have a little bit of taint on them because they tried to girl them up.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem. This is what I'm trying
There's
to say.
nothing. There's
There's
nothing.
nothing because they haven't made things for young men in so fucking long.
That's true.
Correct.
There's
I'll
nothing
give you.
there.
I'll give you one more. I'll give you one more, and it's another video game, but it will never happen because there's literally no reason for them to even do it. It's Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
There's no reason for them to do it though, because GTA 5 has made more money than any movie than all of the top movies, I believe, combined. Itself.
Well, also,
so why would they fuck with it? Like, why would they
Also,
care?
it can't be done because that'd be a rated R movie from the jump. You can't get
Yeah,
young kids on that.
that'd be a hard R movie, hard rated R movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Minecraft.
But if you were
Here-
trying
Can't
to
get the
get,
rights to Minecraft
Amen.
because Warner Brothers has it, I think.
Here's what
Yeah,
needs
they
to
did it.
happen, and Disney's not going to do it. When and I'm go to sports route. When you have a team that has a losing culture, heads roll. 3 years you see a team lose 3 years in a row. The coach is out, the GM is out, everybody on the staff is out.
Yeah.
The Disney culture is beyond toxic, and it needs to be swept out.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I understand.
You brought in all these activists, you brought in all these feminists, you brought in all these morons who told you to take a boy-centric brand and make it girl-centric when you was already the biggest girl-centric brand in the world. You already
Right.
had the girls.
Yeah, no,
You
and that's what
didn't-
they stated it when they bought them, by the way.
Yep.
That they
Yes.
were buying it so they could get male money. Now, I understand what you guys are saying, and specifically Adrian, because in looking at the results here, this actually, supports his comment very, very clearly. Because the AI even is giving ideas here, but all of these things are our generation, right?
That's the
Right.
problem.
Even the AI
Yeah.
can't come up with something, because the Silmarillion, Dark Tower, Arkham Horror, I'd love to see more of that. Sandman, we already have, and it's super gay. Why the Last Man? They fucked that up already. D&D, Gloomhaven, with board games. Now these are all our generation. So there
Yeah,
is nothing
but
being
they've also-
stated here for kids. So hold on, let me finish, Grimlock. All right. But however, I personally think there is an avenue, because here's the thing. If Disney's serious, if they have people over there like, look, we've really, really screwed this up. We need to give a real full-throated effort here to try to bring back men, right? Let's say that that's true. I don't believe it. You don't believe it, but let's say it is true. All right. What could they actually do, seeing as everything, because we haven't had stuff for young men in so long, it's all been destroyed. What could we create as far as offhand that might draw them in? My suggestion is this: dark fantasy,
Yes.
Yeah.
because
Dark
things,
fantasy would be the way to go.
yep, Diablo, Path of Exile, these are big mega games. Young
Yeah.
men are playing them like crazy.
Yep.
Young.
You could do you could do dark fantasy. The only one that's still in Henry Cavill's currently working on it is Warhammer. They haven't fucked it on the grand stage yet. They might try,
Yeah.
but they haven't yet.
They're trying.
But if that hits, it'd be something that would maybe kick off what you're talking about going into, because that's dark space fantasy, right?
It is. Yeah.
That could easily head that direction. I've said for years and years and years, I have no idea why it's never happened. Diablo itself is perfect
Diablo.
for a film. You could make it a
Yep.
horror action film. It would be brilliant if you did it.
Yep.
But it's just never been done. They've never
Yep.
even suggested it, I don't think. There's a lot of places you could potentially go, but there's none anywhere near as big as the ones they've destroyed.
Right.
And the only
That's the
Diablo-
problem.
The only real, well, the closest one that is
These
that big is
games-
Call of Duty. Call of Duty is the
these
closest
games
one.
these games you were mentioning though are our generation. That's what I'm
Again,
trying to
No,
say.
that's right. They all are. I understand that. And the fact that for the past decade or more, these young men who their entire adultish thinking from high school until a young adult here, they have had literally nothing, and they've been a full attack. Therefore, there is nothing for them, which therefore brings us to a whole nother conversation.
I think they would
Have
recognize it if they saw it, to be
that's
honest.
it. Would they
on
even
these
recognize
guys.
it as being something entertaining? Because it seems to me they've
Yes.
noped out completely when it comes to that type of entertainment, and what they
No.
tend to spend their time with is YouTube things that have nothing to
Yes.
do with entertainment. So would they even
Yes.
recognize something to come back for?
Yes. Yes, they
I'm
would.
not sure.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
think
they
they
would.
would.
I'll tell you
but
how I know that for a fact they would. I have two nephews who are the generation exactly what you're talking about. You know what they talk to me about? Movies from the 80s and 90s.
They do.
Yeah, I
That
was
is
going
true.
to say, yeah,
Yeah.
So they
this
would
is true.
recognize it immediately. They'll both tell you that the first two Spider-Man movies were the best two Spider-Man movies. Like they immediately. It's not even music. They'll tell you they don't like modern music. They would immediately respond if it switched. The reason why Trump does so well with them is because he reminds them of an era. They're nostalgic for an era they never knew.
They
Because
never
they were
lived
robbed
in.
of it. They were robbed
Right.
of it. We
Yeah.
were fortunate enough to live through it, but they were robbed of it. An era where men weren't completely treated like pieces of shit just for breathing, and we're allowed to, like to look at sexy girls and not be called scumbags
Sure.
or creeps for doing it.
Sure.
Mhm.
Or fantasize about being big muscly action heroes and superheroes and what have you, and not be demeaned or said that no, you're fine just the way you are, sugar, and talked down to like you're a fucking toddler by grown ass women. That's what they've never experienced, and they experience it in our old culture because our
They
old
do.
culture was like that, and
Yeah.
that's
That is
why
true.
if you shifted it, it wouldn't even be hard. That's the thing. This isn't hard. These problems aren't problems. They just refuse. They refuse to do what they know they need to do. They've done it before. They've done it in the last 10 years. They just won't do it because they've dug their heels in. Iger and that idiot Feige and everybody at Lucasfilm have dug their heels in. They're activists. They're not capitalists. They don't care about making money. They don't care about making entertainment. They're going to brainwash you to agree with them. That's what they want to
Yes.
do. That's all they care about. So all this talk about them that we got to get the young men back, we see through you, you stupid motherfuckers. Your lies don't work anymore. Once you know
Yep.
someone's lying, it's real hard for their lies to work on you. Once you see through it, you've seen through it. So the only way, I think it was Grimlock who said it, or one of these guys said it, the only solution here, it was Grimlock. Clean sweep. The board of directors, the shareholders at Disney especially, they got to get rid of everybody. Everybody. They got to go. From the top down, all the way down to middle management. Clean them out. Start over. Reset button.
Yep.
That's
Well-
what has to happen. And you know what they need to do? They need to go out there and find some young 30-year-old guys, men, 30-year-old men to take those spots and start making things for the generation of young men that were abandoned, that they are the
Correct.
top end of. And maybe they can right this ship and save these franchises. Because if you remember, George Lucas wasn't an old man when he made Star Wars. He wasn't.
No.
He wasn't an old man. He was a man
That's-
in his intellectual prime when he made it.
None of these
That's
guys.
where they need to
that
get
made
in there.
stuff- None of these guys that made the stuff that entertained us were old men. They were young.
Yes.
Fresh out of
They were a whole new
university.
generation.
Um,
Whole new generation of Hollywood.
yeah. Well,
What the problem is the boomers and their children, their generation of children refuse to get the fuck out of the way and
Hey,
let the
that's
young
me.
bucks come in.
hands up.
Let the young bucks come in and do what Hollywood has needed to
Well-
be done. It happened in the 70s. We've talked about it. It needed to happen. The old guard had to get destroyed, had to get killed, and get them out of the way so that guys like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg and the what have you could come in and make new stuff that the people wanted to actually see and revolutionize. The reason that hasn't happened is Hollywood has calcified around these old bastards that won't get out of the way,
Well,
like Iger. It's a great
the problem
example.
with everything is like that. Every every field, every job,
Yeah.
everything's like that. But one thing I've
Yeah.
noticed, and once again, this is kind of really leaning into what Adrian had said, is I notice here because I'm interacting with people of all ages all the time, right? Because of my
Yep.
job. And here's what I've noticed: the young people here in Japan, anyway, they don't consume entertainment together.
Right.
And what
Yep.
I mean by that is you have a young couple, well, like my son
Yep.
and my daughter. What do they do with their significant others? They go to restaurants, they go to the gym, quite popular. A lot of young couples, boy and girl, go to the gym, work out. It's quite popular. Go outside and do stuff. And when they actually do consume YouTube or something like that, it's separate. They don't
Separate.
sit and watch things together like my generation did or your generation. They seem to have completely disconnected that aspect of being a joint thing, a together thing, is what I've noticed.
What's amazing is just 6 years ago, when Endgame came out, it wasn't like that. Because if you were
Yep.
No,
in the cinemas for the Endgame, and Endgame was an event, we can't take it away from it.
yeah, I'll
Yeah,
get
it was
back in a
It
huge.
was
second.
a social event. It was everybody was there. Everybody was having a good time. I think that's one of the reasons why people look at that movie so favorably. But that's another conversation.
Yep.
It wasn't that long ago where this was definitely not the case. What happened, what I would say happened, was COVID. COVID atomized a generation that was already atomized by social media and cell phones and internet
Yep.
access and instant, constant communication where it wasn't, you didn't have to be around each other to talk to each other and interact with each other. And then COVID made that even worse because everybody got put in their own
Yep.
little boxes, stayed in their own little houses, didn't go out, didn't go see people, or at least a lot of them didn't. And it really shut down that social pressure to be social. So now when people like Chester was just saying, these young people will watch something, they had a few years, their formative years, where they
They
didn't,
were by
it's not that they
themselves
didn't want
watching
to.
stuff.
Yeah, they were by themselves watching stuff. So that's just how they're comfortable. That's just normal for them. Uh, Now, whether or not you can, I don't think you're ever going to get back Hollywood as it was 10 years, a decade ago. I think that's dead. That's over. You're not going
Yeah,
to see those
it's
numbers probably ever again, unless some new revolution in watching movies comes out that makes it worth the time and effort, which I doubt it, since there hasn't been one in a long time. Um,
Mhm. Well, let's not
the
forget the factor of AI and what's coming.
Yeah, AI's
Yeah,
come in.
that's
It's
true.
it's basically already here to where you can just type something into a box and it'll make it for you, and it's just as entertaining as anything
It might
else.
well change entertainment completely from what we're even talking about. That's true.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
it's
will.
going
That's
to.
I think within 10 years, you won't. What we're talking about, this sort of stuff, largely won't exist.
Maybe.
No.
Uh,
Yeah.
you'll just type it in, or you'll get like you'll pay for a prompt script, an LLM script. You put it in your AI machine, and boom, it'll make it for you. And there you
Yeah.
go. Now you're
Yeah.
watching it.
Yeah.
well,
And
the other problem that also self-inflicted is Hollywood as we know it, even though they won't admit it, is dead
Yep.
because the era of the movie stars that we grew up with that was you could say lasted almost 100 years. The stars of yesteryear where they had this aura and this mythos about them.
yeah,
That's just done. Social media has killed that because now
Oh, it's done.
all it takes is one or two posts from any given actor, and it's like, fuck this person.
Yeah.
Because look at it.
yeah.
Look at who
Well,
and also the era of socially engineering things, I think, is over because of the
sure.
internet, because you can't do that no more.
That's true.
There's
Well,
too
look at
much
the Hawk Tuah
information
girl.
out here.
Perfect example.
Well,
Disgusting
it's not
woman.
that. It's not just that. Look at who you mentioned earlier, Brie Larson.
Yeah.
Um, to a lesser extent, Daisy Ridley. But hell, look at who who Disney has tried to force on people. Rachel Zegler,
Yeah.
Dominique Thorne, Pedro Pascal. These are unlikable people, but they keep telling you they're great. They keep telling you,
They're
oh,
great.
they're
Yeah. And
leaders and they're this
Yeah,
and
they
that.
just gave
on the internet, especially these young people see them and they go, "This guy, fuck this guy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing with it is, though, Grimlock, with that, Hollywood, this is thing how much things have changed. Hollywood used to fight so desperately and throw so much money at keeping the true face of actors away from the public. Because some of those
Yep.
people were nice, but some of them were monsters, absolute
Monsters.
egotistical dicks that did
Yeah.
illegal shit. And Hollywood
You
went
didn't
to
know that till
extreme
later.
ends. That's right.
You didn't know that till later
That's
after their
right.
death most of the time.
That's right. But because they would try to keep it secret. These days, it's just right out and raw, right in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost want it in your face, but he's right. Like, once again, I interact with younger groups of people all the
Mhm.
time because of my job. They do not hold. The only people I notice are maybe the ones that are in their 20s to 30s. So they're not the young generation either
No.
at this point.
No.
They are still like they still see certain actors but it's girls. It's only girls.
Yep.
Guys don't give a fuck about this shit anymore. They
It's true.
not like our generation who would see an actor like Bruce Willis or something and like want to be that guy, right? At the
Right.
time,
Right.
that don't happen now. I can tell you, the people they might look up to is sports figures at times, but even then,
Or successful
Yeah.
I don't even
YouTubers,
think
maybe.
or
Yeah.
successful YouTubers. It's successful YouTubers that they usually look up to more
It's
than
true.
anyone.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
now with that in
and
mind, that conversation, Call of Duty, COD came up. This isn't that, but it is very, very similar.
Uh-oh. What's he got? Here it is. Netflix drops Splinter Cell Death Watch trailer. See, now that's
Yeah.
interesting because Splinter Cell, I mean,
It's
it's been a
old.
while.
It's old,
It's been a while since we had some Splinter Cell. I don't know why
but it is in that
we
vein.
haven't had Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's nowhere near the scope though.
No,
It's been a
it's not.
while since we've had some Splinter Cell. I've always loved Splinter Cell. I think Sam Fisher's a great character. I wish we could have more Splinter Cell. It's one of those things. Why are we sleeping on this? What is it? What's
Yeah.
holding this up? This is a great franchise. About that time, about 25 years ago or so, they were cooking in the game industry,
They
boy. They
were.
were making they were banging out franchises that became multi-billion-dollar franchises, multi-million-dollar franchises. Left, right, and center, they were coming out. I remember if you look at the chart of the games that came out in 2004, just by itself, if you had half of those come out this year, it'd be one of the biggest years in the history of gaming.
Yeah.
And they all came
okay,
out one year.
Let's take a look at
case
it,
in
shall we?
point. Case in point, going back to the previous point, I just looked it up. The last Splinter Cell game that came out was August of 2013.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
know it's old. I know it's old. But I just when I saw it in juxtaposed to this thought that came to my head with this, which you guys had the same thought, I just was like, that's a blast from the past that might be relevant. So let's take a look at the trailer, shall we?
Let's do it.
He's old now.
Do we have an eye on the target?
All right. It's Netflix.
We don't have much time.
Okay. Same people that did John Wick. All right.
What was that? Splinter agent, please respond.
Ubisoft's involved, which is scary.
I'm here.
You're a hard man to reach, Sam Fisher.
An old Sam Fisher. Isn't that interesting?
No, why do they keep doing the old man thing now?
They are doing it. You're right.
Either you do this
And
with
we got
me,
the hip
or I do it
hoppies,
alone.
which don't make any sense.
Makes 0 sense for Sam Fisher, but okay. Old white guy.
And he's working with a young kid with the what do they call those extended cornrows? I don't know, what do
think
they
just
call
cornrows.
those? Those aren't dreads. They're cornrows, but they're long. Um, is working with him there, and I don't understand that look that the young men are going, like young black men are going for, because you just look gay.
Like, look at the little blurb down there, the description. From the creator of the John Wick franchise, I can't even say the word, comes Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Death Watch. Now, wait a minute. I get what they're trying to say here, but no, this
Yeah.
is a Tom Clancy property. He
Yes.
might have wrote this particular show, but the framing here is stupid. And it's worrisome that they're this stupid.
Right.
If you're going to make a Splinter Cell something or other, nobody really. I mean, it's great that a John Wick writer is a part of it, or the guy who wrote it. That's awesome, but that's not the draw here, folks. The draw here is Splinter Cell. It's Tom Clancy Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
And the
Is there a
framing is the problem. This is the
Yes.
big. You want to know why they're not getting men? Very simply, they don't know how to frame things to entice men anymore. Whether it's a pretty
Right.
girl, whether it's an action scene, whether it's a film, they don't know how to do it because they hate men. They hate them.
Yes.
It's not that they dislike
That's
them.
the
It's not that
crux of it.
they're confused. They hate them. Hate them.
Yes.
Hate everything about them.
Another question. Why couldn't they name the man's name in the trailer? Like,
Sam
they go
Fisher?
the creator of John Wick, as though it's like some mysterious entity. We know who
Well,
he is.
he's not the creator. He's one of the writers.
He's one
The
of the
creators
writers. He did
is
Nobody as
that
well.
Polish guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then they shouldn't. Well, again, that goes back to the bad framing. It's like you're
Bad
saying
framing.
he's the creator, but he's just a
Manipulative
writer.
framing.
But even with that, if you had, you would think marketing, name recognition. It's like, oh, this is the guy who wrote John Wick. Guys, most people would be like, okay, hey,
Like,
I
look
know
here.
that dude.
Whoever made this poster or whatever it is did a great job.
Yeah. It
Look
looks
what's
nice.
front and center. What's front and
Yeah.
center is everything you need to know. You don't need to know anything about no John Wick movie. John Wick and Splinter Cell have nothing to do with each other. Nothing.
And nobody
they're
cares.
similar insofar, right? Exactly. They're similar insofar as the action can be somewhat similar, but actually, Splinter Cell should be far more slow paced and far less over the top. Sam
True.
Fisher's not a superhero. Sam Fisher gets his ass kicked. If you fuck up with Sam
Yes.
Fisher, you die. There's none of this John Wick shit where he's taking on 50 guys at once. That's not
No.
Sam Fisher. So again, framing. They don't know what they're doing. They've hired a whole bunch of people
Well,
who are retarded and who hate men.
yes. That's the real thing about this situation. So they claim they want to get men back, but the problem is they hate men. They hate young men. And the young men are starting to realize they hate them.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that
See,
is a
they
big
pulled
issue.
the
Yeah.
wool. They pulled the wool over our eyes, our generation's eyes, for a little while.
Because it
But
was
we
so
got wised up.
unbelievable, right?
We got wised up to that too.
We did.
But the young men, they grew up seeing it and getting wise to it.
Yeah. No, and well, this is all correct. So I think, for us, we'd love to see movies come back, entertainment come back, but maybe for the young people, they just don't really care, and it's
I don't think they
dumb.
care. I think
Yeah.
it's a give or take situation. They'll watch a movie and they'll be like, okay, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or they won't. They don't care. Like I've tried to have conversations about films with people, and people that are younger than me, the younger generations, they don't talk about films. I'm telling you straight
No,
up.
they
Like
don't.
at least the
You're
people
right.
I work with, they
Well-
don't care.
Well,
They don't talk
also,
about music like I talk about music. They don't talk about films like I talk about films. And if they do, it's older stuff like Thundara was saying.
that, and it hasn't been mentioned, there is a racial elephant in the room
Yes.
That's true.
because
His name is
we
Jackie
are-
Chan.
no, I mean, as much as they don't want, for whatever reason, they have a problem processing this. The United States is still overwhelmingly white.
Of course it is.
I think 60, I think it's about
It's even
63,
more than
64%
that,
of the
because
population
all the
is
other
white.
white people who are now
I'm
all
just
of a
saying-
sudden not white people. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm just saying, according to the last numbers, take them for what they will. About 64% of the country is still white, and you take half of that number, and that's white male.
Yeah.
And for the last, well, in general, for the last 50 years, they've been trying to feminize men, and they've been trying to, and they've done everything they possibly can to shit on men for the last years. But it really ramped up starting in 2010.
Mhm.
And those group of young boys who are now young men or men even entering their 30s, there was nothing for them. There was nothing for them except vitriol. There was nothing for them. You suck. You're the reason the world is horrible. There was no heroes for them. They bastardized those heroes. Disney, like I said, Disney could fix these problems tomorrow, but you got to make a clean sweep of shit. Here's what has to happen. Disney would have to stop investing in what I call Marvel's three faces of failure, and they're not going to do that. They have to stop investing in Carol Danvers, Kamala Khan, and Miles Morales. They're not doing it. Those three was brought in for one purpose and one purpose only:
Anti-whiteness.
To move away from not just anti-whiteness, anti-white male.
Yes.
So you have spent billions of dollars on those three failures while bastardizing Spider-Man, while pushing Wolverine to the background, like killing off all of your significant male heroes. We talked about this before. How many movies have Marvel put out where there was a male hero, but the hero was killed at the time?
Yeah.
Right.
Just killed off. You had a 10-year run with the Avengers, and that Avengers team was not in the comic books.
No.
Right.
You could have been printing money. You could have been printing money to these kids. So by the time that those kids were in their 30s, just like when we were kids, your parents could go to you, go, oh, I remember that when I was a kid. That was really cool. Go see that.
Yeah, let me tell you something too. They missed that opportunity because kids were interested at that time in comics, and they would go to the shop and they would not get the same thing that they were getting in the movies at that time. I know for a fact. I've talked to kids about it at that time and pointed them in the direction of the older comics before.
And you know what they found instead? Manga.
Yeah. Manga.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
That's where they
I will
went,
tell you the younger guys that I talk to when it does come to entertainment, Minecraft is one of the biggest video games ever. And I'm talking like guys that grew up on it still play the game. They will take a break from it and they will come back to it. And manga. I talk to kids or, people in their 20s, some of the teenagers. They read manga or they watch anime, one or the other. It's the truth of the matter. They lost the whole generation.
They did.
In
No,
that
that is definitely true. And I from my conversations here on the show, I think that was the intention. I believe that this is all orchestrated. It's not about how can we get it back. I think they succeeded what they want.
I'll give you another one. He was talking about the hate of the white male. Up until very recently, I'm starting to see a bit of a change. Advertisements didn't even have white families in them half the time.
Correct.
Or they would be mixed families.
Oh yeah, no.
One or the other. You never saw.
Yeah. No, I told you overseas, everyone thinks America's at least 50% black.
Exactly.
They believe it because of all the commercials. You not allowed to have a white man with a white woman. It's not allowed. Yeah, that's very true.
Well, see, and this goes back to the Sydney Sweeney thing. She got wrapped up into all this, but the reality is that was when that ad came out.
That was the norm back in the day.
That was the norm back in our day. But because we got used to seeing ads, right? For the past 15, 20 years, probably, maybe 10, 15, especially ramped up in the last 10 years, I would say.
Yeah.
When that ad came out, my mouth dropped. I was like, what the hell? Like this, what happens here?
Yeah.
Like,
And there is another shift with young men that's another interesting point that I think plays into this conversation. When you look at the white dudes, the white young guys, what have they gone to? One, going to the gym has become very popular, which is a great thing.
has become very popular.
It
I would
has,
say
and
that.
that's
Yep.
great. But they also, what are they doing? They're all sporting beards and or mustaches, right? They've gone to a much more masculine
Some of
look,
that's
right?
yeah.
Where it,
Some of
but
that's like tapered off, but yeah.
yeah, but I'm just saying that I don't mind it, but it just shows you their mindset.
No.
They're looking for something, right? Whereas
Yeah,
on the other
100%.
side, I'll have to ask Grimlock this, being our local specialist. But I don't understand the young black men though, because all their haircuts make them look like their hairdos make them look like a homosexual. What the hell's going on?
Yes, because the social engineering worked.
Because they
Yeah,
do. They
it
look
really
like
was.
50
homosexuals
years
with those
when
haircuts.
you
It's not masculine
yes,
at all.
which is
Yeah.
also, and to be honest, it was a problem with the white males too, because
Yeah.
if you look at the last 10 years, look at who they say is the picture of masculinity right now.
Right,
Pedro
exactly.
Pascal. That nigga's got more sugar in his tank than Southern sweet tea.
That's true.
And everybody knows it.
Yeah, that's true.
But
But
he gets pushed.
yeah.
I can't remember the last time I've seen a black male lead in anything, a TV show, a movie, and he's not a flaming faggot. I can't remember the last time I've seen one, which is why Blade didn't happen. Hey Disney, you want to get the males back? How about you actually do a Blade movie before Marshall Ali is eligible for Social Security?
Yeah.
Right.
I have a feeling they're gonna have to find
You know,
someone
how about
else.
that?
He's getting too old, dude. I mean,
He is.
Yeah, because they've wasted 8 years of the man's life. That he should sue. I would sue if I was him.
yeah. No, and Henry Cavill is
There's
another
no
example
way
of this.
you
They
allowed
wasted
me to
that guy.
leave.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
at least.
Henry at least got out.
Speaking of,
Ali's still in the contract.
Speaking
But-
of my boy,
but,
my man, the myth, the legend himself, Karen Gillan joins Henry Cavill even in Highlander.
Mm.
Perfect example of what we're talking about. She looks way better here than she ever looked in any of the Guardians movies.
now,
Well, she has hair. That helps.
yeah.
She has hair.
Now that helps
Yeah.
a lot. And here's some imagery of her.
Yeah, but
just,
Nebula was never ugly.
yeah. No,
No, they
but
uglied her up.
she's. I think in this case, she's not the most gorgeous thing ever. But for what the role she's playing, I think she fits just right. Because
she'll do a
she's
good
playing
job
the
in role,
wife
probably.
in the beginning, right?
Yeah. Obviously.
And I think she can do a pretty Scottish wife just fine. However, I also put this up here not just for her being announced as that, and I think it's fine. I have no problem whatsoever. I'm kind of curious what you guys think about the other casting choices that we've gotten here. Henry's playing McLeod, of course. Russell Crowe
Yeah,
is
yeah.
playing Ramirez, which could be fantastic if
Yeah.
he takes it seriously. But this one
Yeah. Really
got my
depends on what Russell Crowe we get.
Right, no, but this one caught my attention. Dave Bautista is playing the Kurgan.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all.
I think he's going to kill it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I do. I think he's going to kill it. All he has to do is be near the end of his wrestling career, Batista. Tap into that guy, and he'll kill it as Kurgan. Because Kurgan's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's
I would
fucking
agree.
hilarious. He's hilarious not because, he's a joke, but because he's just so damn evil. It's hilarious to watch him
Yeah,
work. It's mwah.
Dude,
I think
you
Batista can pull that off.
I hope
if
so. But
He can
Clancy
remember
Brown?
that guy.
Clancy
No,
Brown.
he's not going to. No, let's not get crazy. He's not Clancy Brown, but I think he'll do
No,
fine.
he's yeah.
But let's be honest. Henry is a far better actor and has far more star power than Christopher Lambert
Yep.
does.
That is very true.
So
That
he'll
is very
balance
true.
out that scale. And then you have Russell Crowe, arguably when he gives a shit, the best living actor. When he gives a shit.
Yeah. This is true.
So this has
I just
potential.
watched.
And Karen Gillan's a great actress. She's phenomenal
Yeah,
as
she's
an
not
actress.
bad either. She's good
The
too.
Kurgan made that movie though.
Yeah, it did.
He did.
It
But
did.
this movie,
Yeah,
you're not
because
going to have that.
that
You're
and the
not going to
Queen
have that
soundtrack.
issue. You're not going to have that, which you're still going to have.
yeah.
You're not going to have that issue because you got Henry there. You got, hopefully Russell shows up. So it won't have to lean on Kurgan as much.
Right.
I think you're going to see
Yeah.
a different. It's not going to be Clancy's Kurgan. He's not going to go in there
Well,
and
you
just try to ape.
can't because
Because you can't. You just
Yeah.
can't. He was too perfect.
This girl right here, I'm
Yep.
showing, she is playing a sword master who is going to teach him. I would immediately cut that out of the
course.
film instantly. What they need to do
Yeah.
with this Highlander is go back to the formula and just give us a pure male testosterone movie. Just screw it.
Yes.
If a woman is in it, she's there because she's hot. That's what they
And
need to
she's
do.
not.
No, but she's not playing a hot girl. She's playing a sword master. But I'm like, and then it's not saying women can't be a sword master. Not the point, especially seeing as she's an immortal and would have to learn to be so. But I'm just saying, no, don't
The point is, we're sick
allow
of women
any
being
remnant.
sword
Burn it out.
masters.
Yeah.
That's the point. The point is, we're
Yeah.
sick of women being sword
We're sick of
masters.
it.
That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Burn that shit right
You gotta-
out.
Here's what I would
And you're
say.
coming.
Well,
This is coming from a like me, who the Major from the Ghost in the Shell series is one of my favorite
Oh,
characters.
I love that character. Yeah, she's great.
Here's what I'll say.
That's not where we are right now.
We're seeing
No.
very quickly, very
No.
suddenly, a resurgence, a return to form, Chester, a reconquista, if you will, of the redhead in Hollywood. Have you noticed this? There's redheads are
thank
allowed
God.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, somehow. So I don't know when it happened, but suddenly they got the memo. They're allowed to put redheads and shit, and not make them ugly black women, like they've been doing for 10
Yeah.
years. Or
People
more.
are not going to know she's Nebula at all. By the way.
Well,
No.
well,
knows
not
that.
when we'll know when Hollywood's really back, when they start bringing the pretty black women back.
Yeah, when we get the hot black chicks again, we'll be like, all right. We turned a.
Yeah,
we really
they-
turned a corner.
They do like those masculine
When we get
looking
it-
black women, boy.
Ugly ass black women.
When
Ugly.
we get it back to like early '90s, like Boomerang and fucking Mo Money, then we're back.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
But I mean, because
Beautiful,
this girl,
beautiful Nubian queens, please. Can I have
That
my
would be
beautiful
nice.
Nubian, please?
this Gillen girl.
'Cause as much as
Uh,
I hated her back in the day, goddamn, I'd give her Robin Givens right now.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's fair. That is fair. But this Gillen girl, like I said, she's not the most beautiful person, but the role she's playing, she doesn't have to be. She needs to be more motherly, more wifey.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
And
she's
I
white.
think actually she looks really good for it. This picture isn't the one I would have chosen. But like this one over here, or maybe this one right here, or even this one right here, I think is more of the look we want. Whereas this, even that one. But this is not what we want. We don't want that look at all. But I
I'll
don't-
give Karen this. I'll give Miss Gillen this. She has had an amazing career where she gets to make out with and have love scenes with men who are way better looking than her. Good on you, Karen.
yeah,
Good job.
yeah.
Good job, sweetheart.
There's a few
'Cause now
women
she
that
gets
fall
to-
in that category, dude.
Yeah, now she gets to pretend to be Henry's wife for a little while, and I mean that's a pretty good get for her. He's way out of her league.
Yeah.
And kudos to her for being a Karen that people don't hate.
Yeah, we like this, Karen.
Although in this film, I have a feeling Batista's Kurgan, they're going to brutalize the scene a lot more than they did in the first one, which is more suggested than shown. I have a feeling they're going to brutalize it in this film.
Could be.
Which I don't
Could
know
be.
that that's the right choice, but they probably will. But anyway, yeah,
They gotta make you hate Kurgan. They got to.
they do, but Clancy didn't need that to do that. Nevertheless, let's go over here and take a look at our box office mojo, shall we? Let me take a
Shall
look
we?
at some of the old things before I get into the new stuff. Let's take a look at weapons. It's upwards of making $100 million so far. That's really good for a horror movie. It's really good.
I have heard
Yeah.
from
I've heard nothing
numerous
but good
sources.
things about this film.
Yeah.
This is a very good movie.
Yeah.
Very good film.
Yes.
Has a great twist at the
Same.
end that is brutal and crazy and just awesome.
No spoilers. But
No spoilers.
yeah, no, I can't wait to see it. I love horror movies anyway. It's my
I
favorite
bet you I
genre.
could tell you what happens at the end of that movie, Chester. You wouldn't believe me. You'd be like, that ain't what happens. I bet you. But I'm not gonna. I'll
No,
let you watch it.
thank you. Fantastic Four. Oh, this is such a big loss, dude.
That's what you call a flop.
Because this is a
Flippity
movie
flop.
that's creeping at $500 million or $500 million cost, right? Cost in.
Flippity flop.
And they're not even half of that, dude. Not even half of it. Jesus.
I'm very
I
happy.
wish
As a
you could
big,
see the
as a
happy
big
smile on my
Fantastic Four.
face.
Yeah. As a big Fantastic Four fan, we're talking comics. Fuck 'em.
Yeah, no, I
They
agree.
get what
I agree.
they fucking deserve.
Superman is nowhere near what it needs. It's still 300 million, which isn't bad in their pocket. It's not enough though. We've said that we think in the long run it will make its money back, but this isn't great either, dude. It's really not. It dropped way off, way off. Holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
All right, but
Do you
that's
think their
still.
hope is that this is going to make their money back on streaming?
I think the Superman will make its money in the long run, at least breaking even. But they didn't make the money they thought. Now this movie right here is a moneymaker, Jurassic World, even though everyone says it's a shit movie. Hey, dinosaurs, man,
Dinosaurs sell.
they
You see
do.
what happens?
I've heard mixed reviews on it.
Yeah, no,
Chester, you see what happens when you know your market and you play to it? Kids like watching dinosaurs do dinosaur shit, so that's what they made movies about.
that's
And
true.
guess what? They made
Yeah.
money.
F1
Crazy, I know.
actually might get to a point where it makes its money back. It might.
Might pull it off.
It might.
Might be the dark horse.
That's a lot of money for a little car movie, dude. That's a lot of money.
I don't know why they decided to put it out when they did. It still baffles me. If they put that out in the fall, it would have made way more money. Way more money.
Yeah. I'm just seeing if there's any of the old stuff I want to check out. Nope. All right, let's go take a look at the new stuff. Now, this is 100% girl product thing from Netflix that they've dropped. I guess they've dropped in the cinema, I suppose. 1,700
Yep.
theaters, $18 million. That's nowhere near enough money for an animated film like this. But it's
Doesn't matter.
yeah.
They made money on it.
They might.
Netflix. It's like number one on Netflix still.
Yeah.
Since it's been aired.
But this is 100%
Wait, what are we talking
girly.
about? I'm not in there.
It's
Talking
a
about K-pop Demon Hunters?
little it's like
K-pop Demon.
Kim Possible.
No, I know what it
is,
is.
or,
It's K-pop
We
Demon
know what
Hunters.
it
No,
is. Chester.
They've
We
made
know
a
what
ton
it
of
is.
money. They made a ton of
They
money.
made a ton.
They're printing money on that. That theatrical release was only done because it streamed so hard.
Because it was so hard. Yeah.
This is just extra money now. That they've already made their
Yeah,
money, is what I'm saying to
exactly.
you.
Okay. I
That's
don't
all
know
profit
anything
that you're
about this IP whatsoever. Let me go check.
Trust me,
it's
I know
huge.
about it. It's huge.
It's huge.
Okay. Let me see here.
And it's actually pretty good. I think you might even appreciate it, Chester. It's actually not terrible. It's a chick flick. It's a chick like action romance.
Yeah, it's
whatever
like
the
Kim
fuck
Possible or
But I think you might even
Gem and
appreciate it. It's not
Holograms.
terrible. The music in it's actually really good too. It's very well made. It's like a musical.
It's a
type
chick
thing.
flick, but it's not so much all girl power chick flick.
No, I
This
wouldn't say
is
it's that at all.
Very Japanese
No,
right
it's
there.
not at all.
Super Japanese. All right.
Korean.
Dude, there's no such thing.
Don't get him started.
All the Koreans do
Actually,
is
I believe the girl.
Oh,
I
Chester.
was about to,
I believe the girl
about
that
to
was in
press the
charge of
Korean
this
racism button.
American. I believe she's an American, but she is of Korean descent.
yeah, okay, whatever. I don't know this thing, but all right, if people like it, that's fine. Good for
They
them.
didn't make the girls ugly. That's for sure.
No, that's true. That's a bonus. That is true. But it didn't make a lot of money here, but it sounds like it made money
It doesn't
elsewhere.
need to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honey,
They
don't
do this with the anime stuff now. Is they just put it out there to make a little bit of extra on top. That's all.
Yep.
That was.
Just like Dan to Dan.
Yeah.
Dan, yeah. This didn't make any money at all. 1,300 theaters. Honey, Don't, a dark comedy about small-town private investigator Honey O'Donoghue, who delves into a series of strange deaths tied to a mysterious church. Yay, girl crap.
It's a very old school looking poster, though.
It is.
what
It's
I say to
clearly
that.
set in the 70s.
I do appreciate that.
Relay.
There's
Not a lot of
something missing
money.
from that.
They're not making
box
money
office
this
mojo.
year at all. What do you say?
There's something missing from that box office mojo, though.
What?
Something missing.
I was just looking at the list. Yeah. That's for this past weekend, right?
Yes?
So the TMNT 30th anniversary release should be up there. 35th anniversary, my mistake.
That's not out yet.
I believe it came out this weekend.
All right, check it. I
Could be
thought
wrong.
that was coming out later. Yeah, a lot of this is rom-com crap, and they're not making any money at all. It's just shocking the drop off from even number one, where this K-pop Demon is the biggest one of the weekend. $18 million for your weekend, dude.
In August.
That's
August.
really bad. That's really, 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 really bad. Yeah, there's nothing here. It's all just silly drama and woke
Yeah.
crap.
Here's something that we have
According
to understand. Go ahead.
According to Deadline, the 35th anniversary did come out in theaters this week and had a $3.3 million week.
Interesting.
I thought it was coming out
Something-
2026, but all right.
Something we have to
No,
understand
this is the 35th anniversary.
Yeah.
is occasionally forms of entertainment just kind of go away.
Yep.
And maybe that's where we're heading with this.
Yep.
Because technology is going to make this so in your hand.
Yeah.
And there will be no reason to have these big gatekeepers. Let's call them what they are. These big studios, all this stuff, when you just don't need it anymore. I mean, they're already at the point, Chester, where you can type in some things into your keyboard and create a whole person
Mhm.
with a voice, a look, a personality. They'll move like you said. They'll do they can be beautiful, they can be ugly, they can be whatever you want. And it takes 20 minutes, give or take. I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a new form of media that exists, and it'll be a script, a DLL or LLM that you can buy that comes in a little file, and you get that, upload it to whatever AI is yours of choice, and boom, there's your entertainment, whatever it is you wanted. And the people who write those scripts will be multi-billionaires, and they'll replace Hollywood in all of this stuff entirely within 20 years. It just won't exist anymore.
It
Not
might
like
well.
it does.
It seems that way, doesn't it? It does seem that way. And I didn't really get into it today because my time constraint, I had to drop over. But there are a lot of things going on in that regard. China is full force trying to get a hold of the robotics industry and the AI industry. And one of the smartest things the Trump team have done is putting so much money into AI because they need to do that, and America controlling that is going to be very important. But there is another thing going on in China that no one, and I mean no one, is talking about in the West. It's shocking and it's disgusting. But keep in mind, a couple of years ago, China came out and admitted, in a weird way, that their population was only 600 million, not 1.2,
Yeah.
1.3 billion, 600 million. They've never had a billion people ever. It's a lie. And of course, that 600 million is also a lie, right? It's much lower than that. But what's happening is they've got to a point where the young people are just not making babies at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Check out.
And they've checked out 100%, which
That's
we see across
worldwide.
the whole planet. But therefore, China needs to fix that problem. So, how do you think they're going to solve it?
Rape camps.
That was the suggestion that came up, and a lot of us who follow China thought that was what was going to happen. However,
Just start
it is not.
abducting women and force breeding them. Yep.
Yeah, but that's not what they're doing. What they're
Artificial
doing is
wombs.
yes, far more
Incentives?
insidious. No, they're just going to they're just going to start making their own babies in laboratories, test tube babies, right? And I put that in my thing. I was going to talk about more, but I just never got to it. But China is actually
Asshole.
going forward with this. They're going to create an entire population of humans to which the CCP literally owns. Now,
They're God.
Right, but you could say, well, they kind of already own all the people in China anyway, which is kind of true. But we're talking literally now.
It will be property of
Yes.
the CCP.
Replicants.
Yes, well, in a way. So now this is an interesting thing because it's disgusting, and we definitely don't want that in our backyard. Now we use similar in vitro type of technologies to help families that are trying to get a baby. We use things like that, but that's not what we're talking about. We're no women involved. We're talking about children literally being grown in machines. There will be no women involved in this. Now the odd thing about this is, and I'm not trying to say this is a positive, but it kind of is in a weird way. If you understand our history and you look at say World War II, for instance, we know the Germans and the Japanese were doing absolute disgusting experiments, and to be fair, the Americans were too, but no one talks about it. All right. However, a lot of the findings that came out of those disgusting experiments we use in medicine every day.
Yes.
Right now, with China doing this, they're going to go through. They're going to get into cloning. They're going to get into genomic manipulation. All these kind of. It's probably already going on. Keep in mind, the very first Chinese test tube baby not only was born so long ago, but so long ago so that they had a report come out here recently that first test tube baby in China had its own natural birth baby. Okay. But they've been doing this a long time. We don't know how far they are, but they are pushing this. But in their doing this, and they're going to make a lot of mistakes, they might perfect cloning and genomic manipulation to a point.
Here's the problem.
Yeah.
It's China.
It's true. That is true. That is true.
Now they might advance it a little bit.
I think they will.
But they're not gonna perfect anything. They've never perfected anything.
Yeah, but no one is openly doing this, dude. No, only
but
China.
You know we're doing it. Come on.
I know we are.
You know we are. Actually, no, we are openly doing it. We've admitted it in Congress that we have whole laboratories with literal human chimera hybrids. That's a fact.
That has come out, and we know they do it with animals. Of course, they've been doing that openly. But I'm just saying that
this is the next stage. This is the next step of genomic technology. It's just the reality of the world we live in. If that technology, if that understanding, if that science is going to advance, the only way to do so is to start creating life outside of the womb.
Well, my question,
and I actually think it could be a good thing in the end. And the reason it could be a good thing in the end is because, like you just said, these young women, seemingly all over the world all at once, don't want to have babies anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Odd that.
Now imagine men who still do want to have babies, by and large, they're not the issue. They can. And they don't have to involve a woman at all. She no longer has legal say over this child at all. So she can't abort it. So abortion becomes a non-issue. And if you have an artificial womb and you have an ability to take a embryo and safely extract it from a pregnant woman and put it into an artificial womb, and put it into an artificial womb, now you have no argument. Your argument for killing that embryo is gone.
Yes,
there's no argument to be had.
Let's take a kind of fanciful look at it for a second.
Mm-hmm.
We know robots are coming, and say we create robots that have these systems built into them, right?
Yes.
And all these men who don't have women, just go with a companion robot because it'll be here sooner than you think, right?
It's almost here. I've seen them.
And they've got to the point that you can not only, do that, you can make choices on what your kid looks like.
Yes.
And do keep in mind these technologies are old; they're not new, right? What kind of effect is that going to have on the female population, though?
It's going to destroy them.
Yeah, and that's not a good thing, is it?
I'm sorry to say, yes. It's a corrective fire. The men have already largely gone through the corrective fire. The
Yeah,
reason
but-
why the men are shifting, the reason why the men are abandoning entertainment, the reason why the men are shifting towards self-improvement, gym, all the things you were talking about, that's a good thing. That means the men have given up largely hedonism. The women have to give
True.
it up now too.
But
And the
that
only
could-
way they're going to do that is they're going to have to be abandoned by men for a while.
But that could expound out of control in a devastating way very quickly, dude. Very quickly.
Yeah. You know what else
Mhm.
can? You know what else can? Is letting the world be a matriarchy for another generation.
Yep.
Women are not built to rule. It's just reality. The only reason civilization has existed for the years, the millennia that it has, is because men are in charge.
Right.
It's just reality. And it's
I'm-
nothing against women. They're great at what they're built for, which is management, which is family, which is creating beauty. They're better at that than anyone else. But they
Yeah,
are not
but-
rulers.
when you look at the meta of it, right,
Mhm.
which is what I'm doing, and looking at all the technologies that you might not think about when you look at it one thing and focus, right?
Yep.
This is a lot more feasible than you think it might be. Like, keep in mind, they've been doing this research for quite a while, and it turns out when it comes to our reproductive material, a female egg, it turns out, is actually pretty easy to create whole cloth, right?
Mhm.
Whereas the sperm is turning out to be an absolute nightmare to try
It's
to
impossible.
replicate. Well, we don't know that, but as of right now, they're having
Yeah.
all manner of consternations. And
I-
also, you keep in mind, in a place like China
Oh.
or other places,
Mhm.
and we know how manipulative we can be with DNA right now.
Yep.
If you went to a bunch of women and say China, they're dirt poor. Understand, they're dirt poor, right? I mean,
Yes.
you can't even understand that level of poverty. And you say, hey, we'll give you a certain amount of money for your eggs. And how many eggs does a woman, especially a young woman, have in her? A lot,
Oh,
dude.
countless. Yeah.
Right? So it's not countless, but it is a lot. So even if they didn't go to the point of creating egg, they can get a hold of and manipulate eggs super easy. So
Yes.
I'm just saying that this thing could blow up, not outside of not just China. It could blow up in an incredibly fast way. I mean, we're
Yes.
talking less than a decade. It could become a serious demographic issue, dude.
Yes. Yeah. And it should.
Yeah, but
I'm for it.
are you
I'm 100%
okay
for
with the
it.
completely removal of the female from the species?
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
And I'll tell you why. What do they add? The one thing that they're supposed to add to us, to the cauldron, these young women have completely rejected on almost whole cloth all over the world. You just said it. All over the world, they're doing it. It's got
They
nothing
are.
to do with feminism. It's got nothing to do with anything. It's because they're too damn comfortable. That's why. There
Maybe
hasn't been a great war in a very, very long time to scare the shit out of them and get them fucking again. That's why.
Yeah. So
And
maybe
get them
I'm
wanting to
just.
have babies.
So you're telling me I'm being too sentimental.
You're being
Am I
way
the
too sentimental.
am I the only one who worries about that? Am I alone?
I might be.
Holy shit,
I don't
dude.
listen. I don't want it to happen. I would much rather the young women get their fucking heads out of their asses and stop being whores, stop being hedonistic sluts who chase nothing but pleasure, and just try and build families again, like their grandmothers did. But all attempts to get them to do so have failed, and they've been failing since the '60s. The
Yeah.
only other solution is just replace them. And then the women who want to be those things, which they still exist, and they usually get wifed up in their early 20s, will be fine. And the rest of them, the ones that are of this stock, will die off. We are going to have eugenics one way or the other,
Thank you,
Chester,
Roger.
or we're going to die as a species.
All right,
It is inevitable.
Adrian, am I alone? Are you gonna back me up here?
Well, I have a Christian viewpoint on this matter, so I don't even think we'll get to that. We might get to the beginning of that point, but I think God's going to intervene before all that
Oh, well.
really gets crazy.
So now we
Good.
need divine intervention. That's not a good thing, dude.
Well, I think that's what's going to happen. Yes.
That's not good. It might well, but I'm saying that's a rough thing. Yes,
Because I
Eric, they
feel
do
like
have
when
hundreds
you're
of thousands
talking
of
about
eggs.
this
I know.
stuff,
Yeah.
you're talking about this. We've seen this, biblically speaking, on a, if you
It's
include
happened
the Bible
before.
as
Yeah, that's true.
historical, It has happened before, and what happens when it happens?
They got intervention. It does happen, but I'm just saying that
Great
this
tragedy.
right.
Great
This is
tragedy.
something that's happening in China. It's going to happen very quickly. And I don't know that the media will cover it until it's kind of too late when it comes to China. But
Yeah.
That's
we know that there
probably
are plenty of other countries that will do it more on the lowdown. But it's a very interesting thing because if you go take a look at, say, Boston Dynamics, for instance, with their robotic body, and AI is coming
Mhm.
along really well, by the way, very quickly.
Yep.
I know it's not actual AI in this program. I get it, but it's still coming along real
VI.
well,
Virtual
right?
intelligence.
Yeah, the virtual intelligence. However, if you look at the most recent demonstration from Boston Dynamics, those robots are starting to move very naturally. Very
Mhm.
naturally. They used to be jerky, and obviously it's a robot. But the most recent one I saw, he was breakdancing the robot,
yeah.
and
Yes.
No,
the
you're
way it
correct.
moved was very human-like. So this
Mhm.
is going to be important for of course, for the uncanny valley, right? Which is a human condition. But if you get that and you get synthetic skin, which they already have, by the way, and you put those
Mhm.
things together and you start getting these female companion robots coming out, and then you can put this technology in it, dude, that's going to happen so fast.
Here's what's going to happen. It'll be a decade of. It'll become a feminist cause that it's some kind of degenerate. Either they'll call them pedophiles or they'll call them
Oh,
gay, or
of
they'll
course
they'll
they'll
come up with
degrade them, they'll mock them. Yeah, yeah, of
some
course.
form of
I mean, they're
degradation for
already
the
doing
men
that somewhat.
for the men who do these things, who buy these machines. And of course, they'll treat the machines themselves terribly. It'll be women, especially these women, whose new cause will be that these aren't people and they deserve absolutely no rights or considerations, these machines,
Right.
because they're a competition. But they're going to lose, Chester, because
Yes.
men always win in the end. Throughout all of history, we win. We're stronger, we're smarter, we're tougher. The women had one job in this equation, and it was a beautiful job. It's one we wanted them to do. It's one up until very recently they all wanted to do, and
Thank
that
you,
was to be
Eric.
wives and mothers.
And it was their strength too.
And it's
That's
what they're
not.
good at.
Yeah.
We would do everything else for them. We would do everything else for them. That's
Eric,
all they had to do.
look what they've done
That's
to the younger generation, Eric. Look what they've done to them, man.
it. And the
So
only solution, the only way out of this is through. And what you're going to see is if it gets to this point, like we're thinking it will, and I really don't see any brakes on this train, unless there is some sort of catastrophic event to re-level the playing field and get women to understand what their role is in our species. Which World War II was the last time that happened, hence the baby boom. Unless something like that happens again, the only way that this gets better is a long, slow process of generational turnover. It's already started to happen to some degree. Gen Z is very interesting, and Gen Alpha is even more so. Yes, the women are crazy left, but the ones who are right wing are crazy right wing. They're
crazy
hardcore
right.
traditionalists. So
That
it's
is
already
correct.
started, and we don't even have this yet. Now imagine you go through about 20 years where those lefty girls can't get dates. They can't get anybody
Yeah, I
because the men
mean,
don't
we
want anything
could
to do
be
with them.
20 years out of what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. We could literally be
I think
just
we're sooner
and
than
then that
20
all
years.
falls.
maybe sooner. Maybe sooner.
And then what happens is the only women that are left are the ones who want to be wives and mothers, who understand their role and aren't ashamed of their role. Don't take me saying that as somehow degrading to them, because I'm not degrading you at all. You have the most important job in our entire species. There is none greater. And you've rejected it and neglected it for decades because men have let you do that.
For
And you've
hedonism.
forgotten it. For pure hedonism, and
Yeah,
because
it's
that
true.
you we talked about it at the beginning, Chester. How many women have left their husbands because they just didn't feel it anymore? I just
They're
don't feel it
bored.
anymore.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean? You don't feel it anymore? Well, I don't feel a lot of things. I still got to do it. What does
Well,
that mean?
statistically, it's been a year since I've seen a new poll, but 78% of all women who ask for divorce, which women ask for a divorce in 83% of the cases, 78% of them, their reason for divorce was boredom.
They were bored.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a very
You
high
literally hear
number.
them say, "Oh, he was perfect. He was wonderful. He was a great husband. I just didn't love him anymore."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Alrighty.
what does
Well, they're
that
going to
mean?
be in a real boring world here real soon.
So
Yep.
Put up.
Because
the
you
conversation,
think it's hard now.
ladies and gentlemen, which I thought would be different, that we had at the end of the show, which is probably better, is not what I thought it would be. But unfortunately, I got to go to work, so I do have to end the show.
He
But
does.
at least Eric's on my side. But we're both old men, so maybe that's the
You're
problem.
old men. You're out of the market, and this problem
We
has
are.
passed you
We're-
by.
Not only am I out of the market, I'm out of the demographic in the conversations
Yep.
we have.
Oh
here.
my!
Well, you
And I
guys
just
are
There you go,
still
dude.
on the
Me
back
and
end of it.
Sandaro,
I'm definitely out of it.
no, we're on the demographic too.
It's even worse. It's even worse when you go racially. So, like black women, for
Yep.
instance, are even worse than.
Oh yeah,
in
no,
this
no.
regard.
That was an overall female thing, but
Yeah.
that I was stating. But nevertheless, Grimlock, you
Tw-
want to have a final
Chester,
comment
here's how-
to
Chester,
put a
here's how-
glaive in the head of the women? Go ahead.
Here's how fucked up it was.
Hmm.
The pandemic was the closest that women got back onto getting jarred back into the right path.
It's true.
Because they looked
That's true.
around, because they was locked up, and they looked around, and they couldn't have their girls tripped. They couldn't, and they realized, hey, I've lived a mostly meaningless life.
Yep.
And then they took the restrictions down, and these, and you know how like when you was a kid, when you said you wouldn't do something, and then
Sure.
you got taken off a punishment, and you went right back to doing the shit.
Not only
That's
doing
what
it,
they
but doing it even harder.
That's exactly what they did.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
I get it. I get
So-
that. I get that.
So, and yeah, that attitude for a lot of these women, they what you're talking about, they treat with such disdain. They would rather go to the grave than to admit that they're wrong. So,
Well,
yeah.
that is a problem with women. That is a problem. Whereas it's actually considered an honorable act for a man to admit his wrongdoing and improve. Women are quite the opposite. Adrian, what you got?
And if I take out the biblical equation, I think Sandaro was correct that this is going to be. It's an inevitable. Like okay, so hypothetically, let's say God doesn't exist or the biblical God doesn't exist, so Revelation isn't going to happen. The pathway he's showing is probably the correct pathway, and it is a problem. But I also am kind of with him on it. They kind of deserve what they get at this point, and it's going to take a major sort of cataclysmic things happening. It's going to take a major research, what's the word I'm looking for?
Alignment.
Alignment.
Realignment.
Yes, thank you. Realignment for any kind of like like he said, the women that have turned right, they've turned hard right.
Hard.
Yeah, I mean, and you'll probably have families from that.
Sure.
And then maybe we'll have families grow out of that and population change. The other problem nobody's factoring is the Muslims. There's a big problem with that too, because they are having babies and they're having lots of babies.
Mhm.
Yeah, sure, but if the
Yep.
Muslims take over, then it doesn't help the women's argument at all.
Well, I know. I'm saying they're pretty much they've screwed themselves over in the long run.
Well, Joy, Thundero, take us out of here.
Chester, I have a couple for you that fit into this perfectly. Perfectly. And it's something that a lot of men have tried to teach these women, but they don't want to listen. A lot of women have tried to teach, especially older women, but these young women don't want to listen. One is the only safe wager in all the world is humility. The women's problem isn't lust. It isn't even greed. That's part of it. It's pride. They are
Yeah.
so arrogant. They believe they have forever. I've literally had conversations with these young women in their mid-30s talking about in 10 years they're ready to have a kid. Excuse me? At 45?
Yeah.
You should have had that 10 years ago. You should have been near the back end
20
of
years
this.
ago.
Well, if you're 35. Well, yeah, even. My point is, these women have lost humility. And because they've lost their humility, they've lost their ability to actually reason and think. And all they do is waft around feeling. This wasn't always the case. Eventually, women used to get serious, and they used to do it much younger than they do nowadays, and that was better for everybody. When women are on the hunt for a husband, they find one, and then that husband puts babies in them, and everybody's happy, usually. Anyway, that's one of them. The other one is one thing that I think they will have to do, and I think it's coming sooner rather than later with what you're talking about, is they're going to have to mourn who they've become, and then they are going to change. Now, it might be after they're dead, the women as a whole, this generation and the generation before them, but it's going to change. We're already seeing it, and it's not even that bad of a problem yet. It's going to change once they're replaceable. The reason why women are able to behave that way is because they're irreplaceable. They're irreplaceable. We can't replace what a woman can give us. Men can't. That's why we go to women. That's what they're for. Men are largely replaceable, right? We like to all think we're special, but we're really not. But women give us things that nothing else can give us. That's why all of civilization since forever has been built to make their lives as comfortable as possible. We've gone too far, and I think there's a corrective fire coming. And that corrective fire is largely because, and this is the last one, I think this is where we're at now. When you feel unworthy, happiness just makes you sad. I think we have a collective self-consciousness, a collective insecurity, men and women. And it's largely down to the men have forgotten how to lead. They're not allowed to lead in many cases. And the women have decided because of this, because they inherited a very matriarchal, hypergamous society, that the men are not worth allowing to lead. So what they're doing is they're chasing the top of men. All of them are. They're not all going to get them. They might get them for a night. That's about it. They're not all going to get them. And what we're seeing all over the world now is these very rich, good-looking men, or even just good-looking men, have harems, effectively, of just 5, 10, 15 or more women that they just call up and bing, bang, boom, whenever they want.
Yeah.
That's not healthy. That's not healthy for society. One of the great things that Christianity did was it ended that practice, by and large, especially for the common man, and it paired people off. It paired people off at a young enough age. They could build families. I think what you're going to see happen, Chester, to answer your question directly, it's going to be bad for a while, but here's what the correction is going to look like. It's going to look like what the past already was. Age gap relationships will become more normal. You'll have men in their early 30s marrying women who are in their early 20s or late teens, like 18, 19, maybe even younger, depending on the laws. And that'll just become normalized again because it's the only sane way to actually do these things. The age similar marriages are rare, historically speaking. So what you're going to see is the men who take their 20s and their 30s and they build themselves into whatever, they're going to end up with real wives, quote unquote. And the men who can't be asked to do that for various reasons, they're going to end up with companions, the mechanical version. And that's how society will be stratified. And it'll be fine. It'll largely be okay. The ones who are going to get left out and left over will be the men who are poor and can't afford a companion. There'll be a lot of those. And there'll be the leftover women who, even though they still can't get the men they want, will not take those other men. And there'll be these two stratas of society that'll be unique in history that I don't know if we've ever had, that are just completely celibate or mostly celibate or, whatever you want to call it. And that'll just be it. That'll just be the way it is. And I think it'll end up a good thing because when the monogamy was largely enforced through Christianity in the West, it was at the end of the day, it was a very good thing. It was a very eugenic force. Eugenics is inevitable. It is a reality. It doesn't have to be forced from the top down, which is what the Nazis tried to do, but it is a reality. We are an evolutionary species. We mutate, we grow. All of us do. Every species does on the planet, or it dies. Humans haven't died yet. Got close a couple times, But I just think this new reality, this new paradigm, the men have caught up now, and we've come up with a solution. The toxic women have to go. They have to go. And they're going to go. We're already seeing it. There's already more single women now in their 30s than there have ever been in the history of America. Ever.
Yeah, it's got a compound, actually.
Yep.
Well, I mean, they're going to die off eventually.
So I'll
No,
leave
they
you.
are.
I'll leave you
Yeah.
with. I'll leave you with this one, Chester. I'll leave you with one that nails it perfectly. And the reason why you don't like it is actually a sign of you having a good heart. But the truth is that brutality is often just another form of beauty. Virtue is not exactly gentle, and virtue is what these men want.
Nama fucking stay, I guess. Later, everybody.